And I feel the time's a ways to go. So where you going to tomorrow? And I see that these are lies to come. Would you even care? And I feel it, and I feel it. Where you going to tomorrow? Where you going with a mask I found? And I feel when the dogs begin to smell her. Well, she smell alone. And I feel so much depends on the weather. So is it raining in your bedroom? And I see these are the eyes of disarray. Would you even care? And I feel it, and she feels it. Where you going to tomorrow? Where you going with a mask I found? And I feel when the dogs begin to smell her. Well, she smell alone. When the dogs she find her, got time to wait for tomorrow. To find it, to find it, to find it. When the dogs she find her, got time to wait for tomorrow. To find it, to find it, to find it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, confidence is broken. Yeah, broken. Yeah, substance is stolen. Yeah, stolen. Yeah, arrogance is broken. Yeah, broken. What I see is unreal. I've written my own heart. Eat of the apples of the eye. I'm crawling back to start. Yeah, I repent tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, I suspend my sorrow. Yeah, sorrow. What I see is unreal. I've written my own heart. Eat of the apples of the eye. I'm crawling back to start. Romance is falling. Yeah, falling. Yeah, recommend you borrow. Yeah, borrow. What I see is unreal.
So, Floki, you want to see something? You want to see some mass? I want to see some cash. Make it rain, Trick. Make it rain, Trick. So everything I do from now on is for Floki. We finally made it home. We did not. We got turned around in Alabama because our phone died. Got lost up in near Auburn. And then I realized this is when it gets real sick. And I cried. I cried this entire way home. I cried my way onto this couch. Did I not, Ocama? Hold on. You have to be involved in this because everything I do, at this point, my channel name is going to be called Floki's Wife. Not Corey's wife. Corey's married. Ocama is a witness to most of everything that I do. And she ain't gonna lie. If I done it, she's gonna tell it. This is Ocama, and you have to say hello to Floki.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't seen me.
Yeah.
I'm bald, too. No.
And she tatted her face the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Like a dumbass.
Haha. I wear my shame on my face.
She wears her shame on her face now. So Everything I do on this channel literally is only for Floki. In fact, what should I call myself Floki's daughter? Floki's wife? I don't know. But I have to change the name of my channel to signify that I had no idea where I was at when I walked into this apartment. I have been entirely consumed by Floki, and that's exactly what I wanted to happen. I have a lot to say this evening, and Ocama is cooking. Just like the good old days. We may not have the fanciest of places, but we do have each other. So I ended up lost in Lee County, Alabama, and then I cried even more because that's where I was born. And I literally never go there if I can help it. But I got lost because my phone died and I missed my turn and then ended up on the interstate, couldn't turn around because it went on, and then I was just stuck in Auburn. And then I'm like, where do I go from here? This is a true story. This happened. Just trying to make it back home, you know. Then I'm triggered because now I'm in Lee County, Alabama. And I've never actually driven for real through there. I've always heard from my mom that I was born in Lee County, Alabama. I don't remember living in that shack with all of the roaches, but that's where I was born. It's not a glamorous story. Literally, no nigga is lined up to wife me because I was born in Lee County, Alabama. It's pretty embarrassing. You know, I've always tried to hide it. Floki doesn't know I'm from Lee County, Alabama. I don't think I told him where I was from. I don't think he knew much about me at all, actually. So consider this to be me introducing myself to Floki, not for the first time because we already had sex a lot and he got to know my pussy really well back in the day. But I had issues, you know. I had issues. I was not as liberated then as I am now. Had body hang-ups, you know, worries, concerns. Can't have good sex when you're stressed. But we've worked past that and we're different now. I'm sure of it. And we don't want to have sex with any other dude unless his name is Floki. So we're just going to save ourselves for a guy that we'll never be with. It makes me feel better to say that and do that than to keep meeting these bitch niggas on the weekend in this shitty hole of a town. You see. So mission has been accomplished. Because when I crossed that bridge over the Chattahoochee River, I did not recognize this place. And when I pulled up here and I came into this apartment thingy, whatever the hell it actually is, child, I had no idea what the fuck this place was. It's like I've never lived here before, and that's good. That's good. That's really good. It's like a fresh new start. But the problem is, while I have a fresh new start in this exact place that I'm sitting, Floki's now with me. You see, and that is the past. So I had to tap into the past to have a fresh new start in my present day environment. And maybe, just maybe, Floki got some of that too. I don't know. Maybe he's having a fresh new start vibe when he went back to his house after seeing me. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened when he drove away. It didn't sound too good from what he told me. So when he left, I just kind of was in shock. I want Floki to know all of this because while I cried, my live stream ended, and I've gone through everything possible to analyze, and I probably got a little bit more to go because it's been if we were to discuss witchcraft, voodoo, or the forces of something beyond ourselves, propelling us to do things and giving us little signs and things, and things happen, and then it's like magical as fuck, you know? And this has been a magical little fucking week. And I have no idea what the fuck was happening at the beginning of last week to know how the fuck really I got to High Island. But whatever that was happening Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of this past week. Thank you so much, because you've given me something that I fucking needed desperately. And that was Floki's face. Who would have thought that's what I needed to feel better? And it didn't feel good. It hasn't felt good, but I feel good now, It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. I am happy that I saw his face because I love him, you see. But I was also sad to see him and angry. I feel like he's with me. I feel like he is with me now, Floki. I feel like I was able to travel with him, and it felt like he was in the car with me the whole time. And now he lives here with me, Floki. Corey lives on High Island, but Floki lives with me. Of course, Floki lives with me. He came willingly. I didn't have to beg him to come with me. He's been ready to get out of there for a long time. Floki. Now, Corey will always stay in High Island and will die there. We don't care about that. I never liked Corey anyways, and I said this to him 6 years ago. And Corey knew that anytime I called him Corey, I was very upset. And one time, I remember Floki. Floki, this is a true story. Floki got very upset because I called him Corey. And he was very mad that how dare I call him Corey? I know that you were really mad at me if you called me Corey. And I said, yes, I am mad at you, Corey, But I do not hate Floki at all. I love that motherfucker. And I'm very happy that he's going to be living with me for a while. I don't get tired of Floki. Ever. Never ever have I gotten tired of Floki. I have not. I never was tired of Floki. I was tired of that nigga Corey. I hated that nigga Corey. You know what I mean? Yes, I know what I mean. There's a lot to cover here. So it is real. I'm here now, so I'm here. And I'm not living in my mind on High Island, but it really happened. I needed to remember, as painful as it was, and it has been a very, very painful last 4 days. I walked into this house crying, laid down on this couch for at least 3 minutes and continued to cry. Ocama came down the stairs with a smile on her face. And she just kind of laughed when she saw me laying here crying. And I asked her, why are you smiling? And then we unpacked the car, and Ocama's really not in here tripping on nothing or freaking out or weirded out at all. She seems to know exactly what's going on. And it's been a very, very, very heavy weekend. And I do look back on it and ask myself, because I know what I went through out there emotionally. I ask myself, how the fuck did you survive High Island a second time? That is the longest I've been on that damn island since I lived there before. And god damn it, that was tough, my nigga. I did not know if I would even get off the island. Who's in my chat? Oh, Ocama. Holy fuck. I thought it was a troll. How dare you type in my chat when you are literally upstairs? Now, does Ocama think I'm a joke? And does Ocama have anything to say? Because today would actually be the day to open your fucking mouth and address Floki. And if you don't think that's necessary, Ocama, then I guess I'm just nuts. And I'm wrong about everything. You know, I'm wrong about everything, Ocama. And I personally feel this is the perfect time for you to get on the screen and address Floki. Is this a joke, Ocama? Am I joking? Is High Island a joke for me? Is High Island a joke for you? Is Floki a joke for me? Is Floki a joke for you? Is this all a game that we're playing? Is this a game? Am I playing a game right now because of YouTube? Is this a game? Or am I utilizing the tool that is YouTube to communicate with somebody that I love? No different than the post office. If I really need a nigga to get a message, and the only way I have is the post office, as much as I hate that shit, I'm gonna write his motherfucking ass. I prefer in-person communication only. Floki would know this about me. You're fine. Whenever you're ready. Do you understand? I'm just saying I'm talking to him. I personally feel like the most important thing I've ever done on YouTube, God damn it, is communicate with Floki. I feel like this is my higher calling, is to communicate with the most important nigga I've ever met in my entire adult life. Ocama would know this about me. Maybe I'll let Ocama take over on the ones and twos, and I need her point of view of my sex life. We need to hear somebody else talk about me and my sex life. And I really need Ocama to come through with this, please. She already knows the deal, so she has the attitude of, who gives a fuck? But I need her to give a different perspective, of my sex life since Floki. Because I can't be trusted, can I? And Ocama has this inability to just talk. And so people think I'm prompting her and telling her what to say about me. People think that Ocama is my puppet on a string, or I have my hand up her ass telling her to tell everyone what to say. They think that I tell her what to say about me. But literally the only person who has had access to inside information about my sex life for the last 6 years since Floki is that bitch over there. Ocama. Okie. What's up with these okies, yokies, and flokies? It's not a jokey, okay? It's not. This is between me, Floki, and Ocama, and Yoki, wherever the fuck she is. And I can have a private conversation publicly, no different than me and Floki's relationship was out in the open in front of everybody, but it was nobody's goddamn business. Me and him were out on that beach in public doing our thing as a couple. And everybody driving by was watching, seeing, and talking shit, and maybe they were gossiping too. But I didn't give a damn. We had a whole audience of our relationship. Me and him didn't have much fucking privacy. Not much at all. So I think we did a pretty good job, all things considered. You know, it's kind of hard to have a relationship with somebody when you don't get privacy that often. And I'd say me and Floki did a pretty goddamn job holding our relationship together for as long as we did, considering how many meddling bitches were involved. Think about that, Floki, and let us give ourselves a little round of applause. Because nobody else can do what we did. I ain't seen anybody yet do what we did, Floki. So I'm over here giving credit where I know it is due. And, you know, who else could have a relationship like me and Floki? Literally nobody, because ain't nobody had one. I'm including an Ocama in that too, by this way. But she just wasn't having sex with Floki. You see? But she's as equally as involved. We were not having a menage a trois. We were having a man and a woman in a relationship, and then Ocama is our friend. You know, and Yoki is our friend. It's not that complicated. And then Ocama would meet a nigga, and then we got a nigga and two bitches and a tribe, you know. That's what we are into over here, is tribal shit. It's not for the small-brained folks. It's not for the retarded bitches. It's just for real niggas and stuff. We're all homies, my nigga. It's a tribe. We're all friends and we love each other. But we just don't all fuck, you know what I mean? It's not that complicated. You know what I mean? That's our literal lifestyle, is tribe. And we're still living that way, Floki, to this exact day. We're just not in a tent on High Island. We're now in a little fucking apartment in Columbus, Georgia. We've been doing this a lot of places. You know, it's like Dr. Seuss, on a train, on a plane, on the street, beat your meat. You know what I mean? Where it's just, we've been doing this tribal shit for 6+ years. You're going to hate me, maybe, but I need you to enlighten the audience on the truth about me. Floki, because I cannot be trusted. Good, let this black bitch take over. She can hop in anytime she wants and start running her mouth and expose me, and I hope she does. I hope Ocama exposes me to Floki for what I really am.
It's super biased, right?
We're not worried about biasness. Let it rip. Oh, she said, well, she could be considered biased and she could be lying. I don't know. Well, She knows who's been in my pussy. It's crazy. Just stating a fact. Why am I doing this? Oh, why am I doing this? Because I want Floki to know this. He would never have known that it took me well, it took me 6 years. Actually, I've been lying this whole time. There's the lie. Because August. It took me 6 years to have sex again. I've been saying 5 this whole time. That was a lie. It's been 6 years. It took me 6 years to have sex again after Floki. Floki. I don't know if you knew that. Do I get a cookie? Do I get a trophy for saving myself for someone? When it hit me, crazily enough, in my driveway, it hit me the number 6. And then I'm like, what? Oh no, it hit me at that damn gas station. I haven't really taken in that it's been 6 years. I haven't. And how long that has been. 6 years, and I still love Floki. It took me 6 years to fuck someone else. And even after, and I've been going out every weekend like I'm a hooker. Something I haven't done since 2011, you see. So I even started going out to bars for the first time in, how many years is it? 11 years, excuse me, Sam. I'm cutting myself short 1 year, and that's not cool. It took me 11 years to go to a bar again and meet dudes, and it took me 6 years to fuck another dude, you see. Because when I was with Floki, I wasn't going to the bar. Can you imagine why? I was a homebody, you know, and I didn't, Floki never had to worry about me going out to the bar and meeting another nigga and cheating on him and stuff. He knew I was as loyal as a dog. There's no way Floki ever had a thought of me cheating on him. And if there was, I find that to be incredible, that he could have thought that I could cheat on him. I was so loyal to that nigga, I hadn't fucked anybody since him until last year. And then you wake up one day and you're like, wow, I've literally not been having sex with anyone for 6 years because of this one nigga from 6 years ago. And it's time to move on. But where do I go to meet someone else if I feel ready now? And we're in Columbus, Georgia. And well, where does one go when one doesn't want to go on the internet? And one goes out to the bars. And one meets dudes every weekend who want to fuck, but we already knew that because we've lived here before 12 years ago. You see what I mean? Ocama's here. Take it away for a minute. Just talk about whatever you want to talk about, sis.
I was gonna say, what do you want me to? What's the direction? Just ask me questions.
Ask you questions? Well, I just want you to inform everybody of who I've been sexually involved with.
You'll fill in the. I know you know the dates better than me. So we'll start with the first dude, which was, his name is Jose. A 40-year-old, 40 something, huh?
41 girl.
One
with 4 children, getting a
with
divorce.
4 children, a divorce.
And we didn't have sex. It was
No,
just making out and let me finger fuck your pussy. Well, you
right?
didn't see it. You didn't see that. But
No,
we're just going off of who you've seen me with. And some
yeah.
shit went down. Because you lived in the house with me. You know what I mean? Have you known, let me ask you this, Ocama. Have you known me to sneak off and do a sneaky link with a nigga?
Uh,
Ever?
no, I'm the sneaky link. That's me.
Yeah, that would be you.
Yeah,
No, let
twice.
me just
I had
clarify.
2 sneaky links. Two
Right.
sneaky links with the
But I'm
same person.
saying, and
Yeah,
we're talking about since Floki, right? Because that's the since Floki.
yeah.
Have you known me to have any sneaky links? Let me sneak
Nope.
off and suck some dick.
No, and not sucking any virtual dick either.
Have you known me to have any online boyfriends that I'm just carrying on about?
No.
No, I'm just asking. Do you know of anyone that I've
Oh,
been interested in on the internet since Floki?
no.
Who else have I fucked
Well, you
since
didn't fuck
Floki?
Jose, but the first dude that you fucked since Floki, literally fucked. His name is Chance, 26-year-old Ranger, and he came over the house and you fucked him one time. And I don't. You would
Barely.
have to. Right. You would have to fill in the date, like the months, the time
June of
between.
2022. Okay.
Right.
It was quick as fuck. I would barely call it a fuck, but we have to count it because the dick went in the pussy. Okay. And then who came after Chance? Ocama.
And then Michael. That was multiple night stand. Because he
Yes.
came
And that,
over more. Yeah.
yes. And that's been a ongoing thing until when, Ocama? And then now you take it away because you've
Until
seen him
you literally.
last.
Until,
You've
that
seen
was
him,
an
Michael, last.
ongoing. I did. Oh yeah, I did. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
him
yeah, yeah,
last. You've seen him last.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
So
literally a
fill
thing
it in. Fill
until.
it in. No, I need you to
Well,
just talk about. Hold on. This is what I need for you to do, if you don't mind. I want you to talk about what happened with you and Michael. Please take it away.
you know
No,
me,
I need.
Floki. I told that nigga to get the fuck out. I told him I had a fit. I was laying in my bed. I started throwing shit through my pillow, kicked my
Oh, so
kettlebell.
you lied. You lied. Ah.
What? I did throw. I told you I threw pillow. I told you about the pillows.
Oh, okay. I knew you threw something. I heard it. I thought you
Yeah,
said
my
you
pillow.
dropped your pillow. And
No,
okay, you threw your
my pillow.
pillow and it hit the cat. I knew you threw something. Okay.
No, yeah. I kicked the kettlebell. That's what made the noise. To make noise, like kick the kettlebell, because that's the loudest. You can hear the boom. And then you came downstairs and you're like, "What's going on?" And I snapped on you and said, "Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone." Um, and then from there, I don't know where you went. I think you went outside. And then from there, I proceeded to yell, "I'm not one of these. I don't give a fuck about cracker ass Columbus. I'm not from here. I'm not from here, bitch. That I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck." I just started going off on my shit. I don't give a fuck. You know that person, Floki. I did it to you. I don't give a fuck. And mind you, the dude, because this place that we're at now, it's 2 stories. So Yana's upstairs. They're upstairs. My room is downstairs. So I was just yelling, "I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck." And then it proceeded to go. Then he came down on the steps where it's the middle like big step before it goes to the second flight of stairs, and it looks down over the kitchen. And that's where my room is, right next to the kitchen. And I didn't have my glasses on. And I yelled at this nigga. I said, "If you gonna call me a nigger, say it to my fucking face." And I said, "I don't give a fuck. You get the fuck out." And he was just looking at me once again. I don't know his expression because I don't have my glasses on. I'm just looking dead at him. And then from there, he started walking down. And I said a bunch of shit just on the same shit of, "You can get the fuck out. I don't give a fuck who you sticking your dick in. You can get the fuck out." And so he left. And I told him, I said, "Get the fuck out." And that happened. And then I think maybe a day, either the next day or the day after, I started texting him on the same shit, basically. I want to die. I want to fight you. Like, let's fight to the death. Sending him all a bunch of pictures and da da da. And then that led to him. This was the last time I saw him. Yana didn't see him. And then he came over, which, you know, that gets into a whole thing of, that's just a whole fucking thing.
I'm gonna need you
And
to
I
slow
wrote
the
around.
fuck down. You be doing that shit, trying to hurry up all the time.
Oh, because it's so much.
And
Because
that's
I'm like,
your
dude,
problem. Just say what happened and take your fucking time, always rushing around. Somebody told me that you had a girlfriend that looked like a boyfriend. I had to rushing around. Like, seriously. Just take your time, my nigga. Are you in a rush? You haven't seen me in how many days?
I'm not in a rush. It's just,
Say what you need to fucking say.
well,
Take your
it's not
time.
even that I need to say it. He was here within a span of 5 minutes of asking me, where am I? I said, I'm at my house. And within 5 minutes, he was here. Mind you, he lives on the other side of town. Okay. That's not 5 minutes away. So he was
What day
already
was
in the
this?
neighborhood. But I do not remember what day it was, sis. I do not.
Well,
That's
we know
my
it
day.
wasn't Wednesday because we knew I was headed to, this was before I knew I was headed to Texas.
And it wasn't Tuesday. So
Why wasn't it Tuesday?
because we were in LaGrange getting the car serviced.
So it was Monday.
Either it was Sunday or
No,
Monday because I was off.
no, it was not Sunday because
Okay,
that
so then it
nigga
was
came
Sunday.
over Saturday night, or excuse me, Sunday night. No. This is all running
Like I
together.
said,
When did that nigga come over? He did not come over Saturday night. He came over Sunday night and you kicked him out. So now it's Monday. So when
yeah,
did
I
that
just
nigga,
know
when did he come over here?
it had to have been Monday because it was my day off. That's what I'm saying. It was either Sunday or Monday because it was my day off. Might have been
Okay, I
Monday. It's
need to
probably
know
Monday.
what date that was because
It was Monday. It was Monday because that's when you were like, I'm going to Texas. And the next day we went to, or was it Tuesday? No. Shit.
it
It
was
might have.
Tuesday. I told you it was Tuesday because
It was
we
Tuesday.
decided no. We didn't plan to take the car. It was on a whim of I can't be in this damn town a second longer. And then we decided to go ahead and get the car serviced. We decided to go ahead and get the car serviced on a whim. And then it's like, oh shit, I'm going to Texas. I decided to go to Texas the same day I got the car serviced on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So he came Tuesday morning. And by
Yeah,
what
he
then
did.
you told me what had happened, then I want you to get into what he told you.
What did he
know? Because you stopped telling me what he told you because it pissed me.
Well, yeah, because you.
What you told me pissed me off. I didn't want to hear anymore. I decided I was going to go to Texas, and I didn't hear what else happened between you and fucking Michael and what he told you because I didn't care anymore. I knew I was going to Texas. So what happened?
What happened? He drove me around and basically was on some "don't be like me." You know, I'm not the demon I think I am. I'm just taking baby steps because this gets into, you know, what I was texting him. And I was basically texting him, telling him, I want to fight you, nigga. I want to fight. I've been telling him I want my ass beat. I've been in this city trying to get somebody to beat my ass and it hasn't happened yet. The one girl that I was female, she's 31 with 4 kids, really 5. One she gave up for adoption, that she was engaged when technically she was cheating on her baby daddy with me. But that's not the point. She had called my phone yelling, saying, where are you? Are you at work? Are you at work? And I said, no. She said, all right, I'm coming to beat your ass, bitch. So I hopped in the car. The first time I've driven in, I don't know how long, drove my ass to the gas station, got a Black & Mild, got a pack of cigarettes and got some coffee, told the people casually at the gas station, yep, I'm about to get my ass beat. Drove home, live streamed me literally sitting on the curb. Yana was right there and live streamed, which she had the access to the channel, live stream me just sitting there waiting for her to roll up and beat my ass. So I've been trying very, very, very hard to get my ass beat in this city, and it hasn't happened. So I proposed it to Michael, since he's Mr. Beat Your Fucking Ass. So I'm like, fight me then, bitch. And that's what I was texting him, telling him, you know, if I could jump off the pedestrian bridge right now, I would, but I'm too pussy. And what else? It was a whole slew of things. Telling him about.
Hold on.
How
You said that, or he said that?
I said that.
Okay.
Told him that, you know, I saw the ends of the earth, and you know what hell is? Hell is what I'm living. Hell is eternal drowning. Told him to make a song about eternal drowning. He told me I was throwing a being a brat. You know, the same things he had told you. I'm being a brat, and I'm acting like an 11-year-old. And I told him, you're wrong. I'm actually acting like I'm 13. And I asked him, what are you, my dad? And I said, well, I guess this all works out because I didn't have one. So you're my surrogate father now. And that's pretty much what we played out. Picked me up, and he gave me the lecture of don't be like me and and telling me all of his horror stories. And it went everywhere, telling me about Jesus and God and the devil.
Details. Can we get some details? That's my thing. I'm waiting on details. Give us some details. Nigga.
Detail. I have to sit and try to remember.
No, this is why I hate you.
Yeah, because
this is why I hate that. I talked about this on my stream earlier. I said, you fucking don't give no damn details to a story, you fucking nigga. You don't care, dude. All you want to do is smoke Black and Milds and get lit and sip on your Hennessy. Like, just give us a damn story.
No.
Nigga. Come on. You're supposed to be good at shit like that.
I'm not. I'm not a songwriter. I just have ideas.
Black. You're the worst. Okay, just tell us some shit. Yeah, you got some great fucking ideas. I'll tell you that much. Go ahead.
My songs are always just one line, like patiently waiting on my eggs and bacon. That's it. It's just one line. It's to the point.
And where does that song come from?
And that song comes
from.
That song comes from. Huh? It comes from when we were waiting for. We drove down to Crystal Beach. We had this whole thing planned out. We were gonna get some. It was me, you, Floki, and Yoki. We drove down to like the big store, and we were gonna get some liquor. And I was saying I wanted to get some eggs and fucking bacon. And so we were sitting in the car, and we were waiting for money. Feel me? And that was the song I was singing because I was so happy because they served like breakfast. It was at the big store, and they served eggs and fucking bacon. And how we'd been living, like I was okay. So, but we were living so raw and so bare bones that eggs and bacon was that's a treat. That's like, holy fucking shit. So
yeah,
I
we never had fucking eggs. Yeah, we never had eggs because we didn't have no refrigerator.
And bacon, we didn't have a refrigerator. So
yeah, so we didn't.
I told Mom, like, when we go to, because they served like breakfast there, like you could get biscuits and gravy, like you could get it all. They served it there, and they always did. And so I knew, I'm like, well, if y'all go into the liquor store, I always have my other plans and ideas of what I want. And what I wanted was eggs and fucking bacon. So I made it known. I said, when we go there, I'm going to go to the big store and I'm going to get eggs and bacon. And we sat out there because we were waiting early. We were out there waiting early for that bitch to open up. And I was sitting in the back of the car singing my song, patiently waiting on my eggs and bacon. And I sang that for however long I was sick because I was ready.
For hours. That's why I remembered that. I was the one that reminded you of that damn song because you're like,
I forgot about it.
Patiently waiting.
I forgot about it. And then only to come to find out you went in that bitch and you're like, they don't have any breakfast. I was devastated. And so we settled for pizza. I was mad.
We had to have pizza.
I was mad. We had to have pizza. I didn't even want. I was like, I ate it, but I was like, fuck this pizza. I didn't want no fucking pizza. I wanted eggs and fucking bacon. Fuck pizza. So that's where that song comes from. Details about Michael. He told me about his time in the Muskogee County Jail, and you know, he went in and out of first, second, and third person. Said all the people describing his experience and what hell is and who demons are and their people, and telling me that, you know, and indirectly saying how he was raped, but talking about me not wanting to get raped. You don't want to be held down on the bed and three dudes and and then you get peed on. And then it switched to any females, and you know, you don't want some females just licking your pussy, and I've seen it. Females, they can be like that and and I was like, yeah, I definitely don't. And in that moment I'm like, holy shit, this dude's been he was in this county jail here. He was there for 3 months. He was severely abused, telling me, you know, the only place that he could
3 months.
Yeah,
It's a long
in a county
time.
jail. That's worse. That county jails are worse than federal state prisons. In that way, when you have to be there for a long time, it's like when we were in Missouri and they would talk about I think they called it the tank or whatever.
Let me just say something real quick. 3 months is a long time to do anything, my nigga. But
Yeah.
1 day is a long time in a cage.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna downplay. I'm not gonna sit here and play with no nigga. Well, it's only 3 months. One
No.
single day is a long time in a cage, and I'm not into that shit. I don't care how sick you are. I do not believe in a cage as punishment.
So he was telling me about his abuse there and how he only got fed 1 meal a day. And he was saying, you know, because he would switch in and out of third person. And he would say, you know, it doesn't matter if once you're in there, you decide, like, I don't want to be this person anymore and I'm going to change. I'll go in. Are you coming out? I'll go in. Huh? Oh. And he was saying that, you know, it doesn't matter if this is when he switched to like third person. It doesn't matter if you decided you want to change and you no longer want to be that person anymore because you're already in the cage. So now you have to suffer through the consequences. And these people don't care if you've made your mind up that you're going to change and not be that person anymore. And, you know, the only place I felt safe, the only place I, you know, felt safe to express his emotion, he was saying the only place he cried was in the shower, and you know, you don't show those emotions to people, and that's the only place I would cry, and I lived with that. And you know, he would stare at the road and then look me dead in my eyes when he was telling me that. He shared about the fight that he got in with the GDs in the jail, and because
that's people who may not know what that is.
Gangsta Disciples, Larry Hoover. It's just a gang. It's the Crips Bloods. Okay, so he talked about
a lot of them here. There's a lot of them here. Okay, this is like Crip.
Yeah, GD. Yeah, this is Crip Nation here.
This is our Crip. Yeah.
And so he was telling me about, you know, how there was one time.
Ocama.
Yeah.
Do you mind going to that chair, or I go to that chair, you sit here? Actually, I'll move. No. Let me move. Oh, I flipped them.
Okay.
It is. If you want to sit here, I'm just saying.
All right. So he was telling me about it. Was kind of jumbled, but I believe he got in more than one fight with the GDs. In one specific instance, he was telling me about. And mind you, we're driving in the car. I'm sitting in the front of his truck, and he's just driving me around the city. I'm like looking because I'm like, oh, you know. Anyway, so he's just driving around the city. We're driving in his truck around the city, and he's telling me about this time where they were I believe it was in the lunchroom, and he jumped up on the table, and he got on his shit and he was talking to one of the GDs, telling him, I don't give a fuck who you are. And for the record, Michael was like probably like what, 5'6", 5'7", what would be considered white with long hair, some facial hair. So he's not a big dude. And historically GDs are black. It's a black affiliated gang.
This shit crushed.
There you go. I think I got an extra. Do I? No. Yeah. Do I have an extra lighter?
I don't know where mine is.
I have another one. I think it's in the house. Hold on.
It smells like an old.
Let me see that.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. It's in my pocket. I smell
Smell
like an
like
old hotel. I just smelled it. I finally smell like I've been wanting to smell for a long time. Like one of them old biker bitches that's just been in the motels. Just saying I had to say that goodbye.
So he was telling me he hopped up on the table and was like, I don't give a fuck who you are. GD, da da da. Basically on that, like, you could suck my dick energy, and ended up getting in a fight with one of them. And then I don't know if it was that one fight where he fought multiple of them, or if it was two or three separate fights where he got into it again with them. But the point is, he beat their ass, whatever GD, he won the fight. And then the GDs decided that they were basically going to jump this nigga. And this is what he's saying, that they had their shanks and everything. And one of his homeboys named Trey, that he met in jail, I believe, or that he knew outside, I do not know, basically stood up for him and said to the GDs that were going to jump him with their shanks, said, no, you're not going to jump this nigga. If you want to get a one-off on him, and a one-off is just you fight him one-to-one individually, you could do that because that's fair. But what y'all not going to do is jump this nigga because he beat your homeboys up and won the fight. So he talked to me about that. Then he got into his relationship with Trey. And Trey is now locked up in a federal penitentiary. He said that he believes the prison is Jackson. I don't know if Jackson means Mississippi, or if that's just the name of the facility. I don't know. He just said Jackson, so I don't know if that's in Mississippi or if that's just the name of the facility and it's somewhere else. Because that shit is like, you know how they do that. But
Yes.
yeah. I guess him and Trey were out. They were out together, so they were free on the streets. And he was telling Trey, I don't like the people you're hanging out with, and we can't be hanging out with them because we're gonna get into some shit. Basically saying that, people. This was Michael's assessment of part of the reason of why they would get into shit, because his homeboy Trey was like a wide receiver, a collegiate wide receiver for some university. I can't remember.
It's
like D1. No, it was D1. It was D1. This is Michael's explanation, part of the reason why they would get into trouble, because he was saying, because you're a tall black dude and I'm a short white dude, and that essentially that bothers people. And so that's why, one of the reasons why we would get into shit. And then plus just the people he was hanging out with over there on the Alabama side, he was saying to Trey, you got to stay out of Alabama because there's nothing but trouble. And then eventually something did happen with Trey. He murdered somebody.
Trey murdered somebody?
Yeah, he's not, I don't know. I think he's in his 20s. He's in his 20s. I don't think he's in his 30s. Okay, he showed me a screenshot. And it's a well-known thing, because it's a collegiate athlete from this part, that it's like the Alabama fucking basketball player murdering the girl. But this dude, he's from this area, even though he was, whatever.
They're gonna say what they say, and wow, they're gonna do the oh my god. I know, yes.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. I know, yeah.
So he showed me the article and his mugshot, and yeah, so he's locked up in federal penitentiary doing an extensive. It's over 8 years for sure. I can't remember the exact amount he told me, but he's locked up for a long time. because he did eventually get into trouble and got locked up for murder. So he's in federal penitentiary. And Michael was telling me about how, you know, he sends him things sometimes, writes him letters, and he made the point to say, you know, you don't know that about me, but yeah, you know, that's that. You know, I send him, you know, I write him sometimes, and I get him commissary and things like that. And he was telling me about his experience with Trey in the jail, and you know how we made the best of it, you know, and cooking, and you know when we'd get some type of money and buying the certain things and making the certain meals. And he was just saying that basically his relationship with Trey was like the highlight of that point, and you know that was the
and yes, I get it.
yeah, and basically saying he's like, you know, I don't know why Trey. He just was very protective over me, and so that was his homeboy. So we talked. That was a good portion of the
That was his
conversation.
battle buddy. Got it. Right. That was
Yeah.
his battle buddy. Okay.
And where's my lighter? Ah, no, I got another one. Oh, I think it's on the bed in the room. Hold on. So we talked about that, and we talked about him telling me about Jesus, and we went on we talked about Jesus and Jesus being real and the devil being
What did
real.
he tell you about Jesus? What did he say about that nigga?
Oh, he was just advocating for him dying for my sin, and he's a good dude, and you know, he's not a shitty person in the sense that he knew that we would shit on him, because I was basically someone was like, fuck Jesus. And he was like, yo, no, could you imagine, he was telling me how loving he was. Cause you imagine that he knew you would say fuck him and he still chose to love you and still and cause he knew. So we went and I said, fuck that, because he told me the story. We went into the devil. We talked about the devil. Oh, this specific point, we talked about the devil. And I said, you know, my problem, you know, well, I didn't say my problem is, I just said, oh, well, I think I did. I can't remember, but I said something along the lines of,
Just
you know,
pause. Can you screech out, like slamming your brakes? We are just telling Floki how I ended up deciding to go to Texas, because this is what happened right before I said, and Ocama was there for that moment. We're just telling Floki, because from here on out, this channel is dedicated only to Floki until this shit dies. Continue.
So, I told him, I said, I don't have a problem making the devil happy. And he was like, that's the thing. The devil's never happy. And so I took that and I said, okay. I said, true. He's like, he's never happy. So you doing all these things and he's never fucking happy. Never happy. It doesn't matter what you do. He'll have you believing, and he's just never, the devil's never happy. So you think you're doing something by being this way and being that person, but you're not. So, okay. So we talked about the devil, Jesus. We talked about the jail. And then at some point we started talking about, I can't remember what. Oh, we started talking about, well, him. This was him talking to me. I wasn't leading the conversation about, you know, I'm not a slut, and I'm not a slut. I chose to give my sexual energy to joy for a time. And, you know, that was for that time. But after we had sex that first time, she started blowing up my phone and stressing me out and and
yeah, motherfuckers be talking
all of that. She started blowing my phone and stressing me out.
Nigga, I am 666. Fuck you talking about, man. I grew up around the same shit the rest of them niggas grew up around. Fuck you mean? Popped off in that old school. Lean back, cause I'm so cool. I ain't never ran with a pack of bitches. If you trust them hoes, you a damn fool. I'm smoking that sack, I'm smoking that sack. Man, and it's hella strong. Free that nigga Goo Wop. He been locked up too damn long. Them weirdos on the internet. In my comments talking that big shit. I don't lose sleep for that nonsense. Y'all playing checkers, I'm playing chess. You know what's up. You gon' fuck around and get your nose bust. I ain't talking about from this cocaine. My bitch, be some angel dust. I ain't gotta hang with DJ Paul to be rapping that 666. I'm a pioneer up in this bitch. Better recognize who you be fucking with much respect. Got the check, got the tech, and somebody got a problem with me. I was born in it.
So yeah, he started saying, you know, yeah, she just started blowing up my phone, stressing me out, basically acting crazy and and I have to change my number. The change my number was said separate from that, but I'm just lumping it all in the same category. That was said way earlier on in the conversation. But so then, we started talking about basically, yeah, he said, I'm not a slut, but I'm a man. I have needs. I'm gonna make mistakes. I chose to give my sexual energy to Joy for that time. And that's what it was. And mind you, he was talking about her and him as if like it's way over, and I'm knowing that this nigga was just over and just had sex with her the night before. So that was very baffling to me. I'm like, you're talking about her as if you've not seen that bitch in years, or even, you know what I'm saying, like it's some old ass shit. Even a week, it wasn't even a week, you were
Yeah,
just
it
over.
seems like, I just have to say this, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm just riding with what you're feeding me. It seems like what he was saying is something that Floki should have been saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It was very weird. I'm like, you just were over, like you were literally just over here the other night. So there was that. And so when he was telling me how he's not a slut and all this thing, that progressed to, he's gonna make mistakes. He's a man. He has needs. Then that progressed to, you have to basically get what you want, and that's where we switched to, this is the trigger point for you, because this is what I was telling you the context around what he was saying, because he was telling me about, you have to go out and get what you want. You can't just sit back, like, and it was just a general topic about you have to be active in your life. You have to choose to be who you are and choose to have what you want, essentially. And he was saying, he was saying, like, if I want to have a woman, I have to go talk to her, right? Now, what I don't remember also is the context around him saying these specific things that got you to trip, because he was saying, like, he was like, I could have the baddest bitch be fucking the baddest, like a bad bitch with petite and blonde, specifically the petite and blonde thing. When he was saying that, he said that, and I can't remember what it was in regards to, because there was a greater point he was making, but he was just saying that as an example. And I felt that to be very odd, and I felt dissed by that to a certain point, simply because I'm like, okay, you the thing that you have this idea of someone that's sexually attracted to you, like the ultimate person, but then the person you're actually having sex with is literally the antithesis of that, is like, what the fuck? Way to diss her, way to diss the person that you're having sex with by even positioning yourself to saying like the baddest bitch with blonde and petite. You feel me? Um, so it was when I was sharing that with Joy at the coffee shop, that is when she tripped her wires, you could say, and she said, I literally need to get the fuck. And I tried. She started crying. She was upset. I was like, sis, I tried to be like, he didn't mean it like that, but there's no other, it doesn't matter what the greater point was, because it's still the diss to the person that you're having sex with. And that's what led to us getting in the car, going to LaGrange, getting the car service. And then the very next day, no, we had we had the whole Wednesday. And then, did you leave on Wednesday? It's been so long. Did
I
you leave on
left at
Wednesday?
5 o'clock in the morning exactly on Thursday.
On Thursday, that's what it was. Yeah, because, yeah. And then she was on the road, because the dude she's been having whatever with, okay, said that. And that first of all, that was like, in terms of like everything else that had been happening between them and what I know, that was the icing on the fucking cake. That was of the disrespect that had been going on his part towards her, and the total trashing of who she is, and it's just disrespect and devaluing her in general. That was like I know for her, that was the final fucking, like, fuck this fucking place and fuck this nigga, I'm leaving. Because that's the thing. It wasn't just the fact that he said that. It was everything that led up to that. Like every fucking thing that led up to that. And then you're going to sit there and indirectly diss me to my friend who knows what's going on. And that's what I told you. I was like, I don't know if he's aware that I know like what is going on. Like I know exactly what the fuck is going on. So, yeah. And of course I told you, because the moment after I told you, it was like, oh, I'm betraying this nigga. I'm like, you said it. That's what you said. You, that's what you said, bro. So, yeah.
Where did I go?
You went to High Island.
And what is that?
After that, everything. That's our place of birth, and some could say death.
And
Hold on.
why would I go there?
Huh?
Why would I go there? Because Michael said something. Why would I go there? When we've not even thought to ever go back.
Ever.
I mean, you're included in the trip just because you weren't with me. You were there with me. So
Yeah, I know.
when's the last time we've thought about going back to High Island? Let's be real right now. You tell me.
Never.
Not act like you are not a part of, like, let's.
Never. Going back to Highland, I personally, if we get into, okay, when we moved in with Emily in 2019, that was, going back was still a point of conversation. Like, I still had that, like, I can leave this shit right now. I'll go to the woods and eventually make my way back somewhere. High Island, I will just leave this place. At the point, it was less about High Island. I still had the thing of I will leave this house and live outside again. That was still existing in 2019. I was still living like I was about to leave that bitch, like for real. Like we kept our car the same. We kept our camping shit. Like we lived as if at any moment in time we will leave and go back outside.
Didn't get a lot of clothes. We lived like we were about to leave at any point in time.
Yeah. And we lived how we lived. Yeah, we lived how we lived with anybody else whenever we started living with somebody, which was only twice. It was Suzanne and Lake Como. Like, we never fully invested in being in the house and being in the culture.
We lived half in our car and half in the fucking thing, ready to go at a moment's notice. Like, we have to evacuate.
At a moment's notice. Yes. At a moment's notice.
And then we did that with Emily in San Antonio.
Yeah, for a whole year. And then when we moved here to Columbus, I still wasn't ingratiated. We still lived that way.
2 years we lived like we were going to evacuate.
Yeah, we did. And most of our time, because I wasn't working then, we did the same thing how we were living in High Island. We just conformed it to what was available here. So we literally found all the little spots you can, because this in terms of this city, like you wouldn't know, but there's a whole wilderness where you can just be outside and be okay. We went to this spot where there's a creek. We would spend all of our time on the Riverwalk. We spent most of our time outside. We'd have the break where we go back to the house, do our duties, and then when it gets hot, all that shit. We used the house like it was a air conditioned tent. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't really live in the house. We didn't invest. We weren't buying clothes. We walked around in rags. We were hanging out with all the the locals who were quote unquote homeless. Like we lived on the fucking Riverwalk, and we
Like it was
lived
the
on the
damn
fucking
beach,
street
is what we did.
like it was the beach. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was the beach. We pack our shit, pack food, pack water, and we just be out there all day. We do a long one in the morning, get back to the house in the summer, like when it would get cold, get hot, go back to the house, and then when it dialed down, go back outside and then spend the whole night outside. And that's how we lived for 2 years, not knowing anybody. We weren't going to the bar. We lived outside. We lived anonymously in this city as if we were on High Island or anywhere else.
But no, High
And then
Island. Like
this
it was always High
Island,
Island. Like for me, like that was still the
Well-
main spot of like the Bermuda Triangle of.
yeah, I'm just saying because we did live like, okay, we lived in Apalachicola.
Yeah,
It's the
but
point of
we
outside,
both
but
know
the
that
was
the spot for us was High Island, unless it was just
Yeah,
me.
for
Maybe
sure.
your spot was Apalachicola. Like I don't know.
No, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying get away from it being High Line. I'm just talking about we lived outside. We lived outside in multiple places. It wasn't just High. So I'm just
Yeah,
making
but
the
I'm
point that we
simply
lived.
saying in my mind, the ultimate place was High Island.
Well, yeah. And then so, you know, High Island, we still were talking about a possible return to Island. Let's just go back to High Island from 2020 to like 2022. I mean, really,
Oh, it goes
it was
beyond. It goes before that. From 2018, from when we moved to Lake Como, we always said, or I was the one being like, we can always go back to High Island.
yeah,
right?
you were saying that. Which 2018, yeah, 2019, yeah, 2020,
Well,
2021.
remember what happened, because remember we left in July of 2017, and we left, and then Harvey hit. We hadn't been
Yeah.
back, and then 2019 or 2020 comes around, and we're passing through, and then we realize what?
There is no beach. There's no place we could be. We can't come back. That's what changed. That's what it was. See,
Yeah.
because I'm like, what in my mind altered my state? Because before that, it was still open in my mind. That's
Of
what
like
it
we
was.
could possibly
It wasn't
get
until
back.
we left. Yeah, it wasn't. It was
And that
on
had
the
a lot, by
drive.
the way, that had a lot
Columbus.
to do with the wildlife officer. Remember, he would text me every now and again with a picture of our spot and say, your spot's still here. So he was
Yeah.
feeding you can come back, bitch. You can come
Yeah,
back. Your
yeah.
spot is still here, meaning the beach is still here.
Yeah, you're right. Because we still
That
have.
was
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
I still had
That's
him.
what it
He
was.
contacting me.
Yeah, when we drove through.
And then we realized, oh my God, we literally have been thinking we could come back this whole time, and we can't.
Yeah.
So then
And
when
then
we
that's
moved
when
to Columbus, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Then when we moved to Columbus, so because obviously we had Yoki, so we it doesn't matter where we're at, we're still going to live that way for Yoki. Even fuck me, fuck my desires for Yoki, you know. So we lived that way, lived the High Island way for what 2 years in Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah.
We did it all of 2020, and then it was at the end.
No, 2021.
Then we did it. Yeah, we did it all of 2021, and then it was
month of January of 2022, and on February 1st, 2022,
Yeah.
Yoki disappeared on the Riverwalk.
Yeah, and that's when I started working in December of I started working literally in December of
Give all the details of your
2021.
job where you were working.
No, I'm not. I'm just giving of how it changed, and I started working only 3 days a week. And that was before Yoki went missing. And then shortly thereafter, when we moved to this area of Columbus, and then Yoki left. And so from there, it's just been a total ingratiation into civilized way of being. So in my mind, like I haven't been, especially after when Yoki left, I'm like, this is it. I've given my all to just living the civilized life. Started working out, going to the gym, working, going to the bar, doing all the fucking things that you do when
you know,
going to the coffee shop, sitting at a bookstore, like, all the shit, you know,
things that civilized people do for fun.
Yeah, shit that I clowned for years, I am now doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. A life that I was living prior to meeting up with you, I was living. It's like I'm living what I was living before I met you, but now I'm living it with you.
Yeah. Me too, sis. Me too.
Yeah. So
Like many years, because when I had Yoki, I didn't even do this shit because I was always with her. But yeah, I'm basically living my 2010 years again.
yeah, that's why I got this cup, because that's what I'm living.
St. Pete.
USF, bitch.
That's
St.
where you
Pete.
what graduated?
Yeah, that's where I graduated, and literally after I graduated, I
When did you
sold all.
graduate? When did you graduate?
I graduated August. August of 2015. And I sold everything. I went back home and I was living with my parents, just waiting on the call from you to meet up. And we didn't know how.
And
I
where
guess
was I living when you were waiting on this phone call?
in Missouri. That was the funny thing about it though. Because once again, this gets into how we met. The
How did
trajectory
we
of my
meet?
life.
How did we meet? How did we meet?
Well, this gets back to me. When I was a Hebrew Israelite in 2012, 2013, I remember specifically, I'll never forget this.
Now, let me just ask, because maybe Floki does not know what that means, because this is all, we're talking to Floki. Remember that, not anyone else.
Yeah.
Because does he know any of this? I don't know if we ever told him.
I don't think so.
So what the fuck is a Hebrew Israelite? And please give us whatever version you want.
There's the quote unquote black version of the Hebrew Israelites, and then there's the white version. I was a part of the black version of the Hebrew Israelites of the 12 nations, where the original the belief system is the true Jews are the African and native people, more predominantly that it's based off of Africa, and we're the chosen people. So it's Hebrew Israelites believe black people are the chosen people, just to put it simply.
Right. And so, what the fuck? Okay, go ahead. You have the floor. Please take your time.
Yeah. So I had, and how I got into that, my brother that I'm closest to in age and closest to relationally is the one who put me onto that. He sent me videos of GOCC, and he got me watching that. And at the time, because I was in college, it was my first semester in college. So I was like 18, 19 years old.
Let me clarify, because you're just in the story. GOCC equals Gathering of Christ Church. Continue.
Yeah. It was my first semester in college. So it was 2011. And going into college, I was a devout Christian. So when I went into college, I joined this Christian group. I cannot remember the name. I wish I could. If I really sat and think about it, I could, but I'm not going to waste time remembering the fucking name. In InterVarsity. I joined InterVarsity, which was a Christian cult on campus. So my first semester in college, I was a devout Christian. I wasn't drinking, partying. No, I was partially living in the dorms and partially living in the houses with the older kids that have been there, that purposely lived in the hood to do missionary work with the poor Black children in the ghettos. So I was half living there and half living on campus, and they were taking care of me because I was pretty much abandoned in every way once I got to college. Like, I was responsible for feeding myself, phone, like everything. I mean, my first my first week, really, I didn't have any money to pay my phone bill. And so I hit my dad up, and then he never responded. And my mom didn't have any money at the time. Our condo was being foreclosed on because she had knee surgery. So I was asked out. So it's a trauma thing. Like, they had taken care of me financially and was feeding me, making sure I had what I needed. So blase blah with the Christian shit. Then my brother comes in, because it gets into who I was at the time and what I was not wanting to deal with. And so I was obviously using religion in that way to try to fill something in myself that was not being filled or not being dealt with. And so my brother came in and introduced the Hebrew Israelite shit to me. So I started watching those videos on my winter break of my first semester. And so by the time I go to
what year, please? What was the year of that?
it was winter break then. It was the turn of 2012. So it was 2011 and winter break, you know, you have all those that month off, and then the new year turns and then you come back for the spring semester. So it was the turn of the year from 2011 to 2012. So by the time I came back from my spring semester of 2012, which I did not know if I was going to come back because I didn't have money, but a whole thing happened and gets into me owing niggas money still to this day.
Oh well.
Oh well. Yeah. I came back. I said, fuck the intervarsity shit. And I came back as a Hebrew Israelite. And so I had a Twitter. I made my Twitter in 2012, right? Because I started hanging out with all the niggas, all the black people. I said, fuck intervarsity. I just started hanging out with the regular niggas. You feel me? It's a whole thing. And we had a little community thing going on with like the freshmen and just the regular niggas, the black kids. I was just hanging out with all the black kids, and I met this girl, and we were from the same area, and we clicked, and it was a lot of trauma bonding, of course. And I ended up moving into like a studio dorm with her, and she would cook for everybody on the floor. Her name was Monica. And everybody would come over. And this, once again, this is before social media popped off. This is when Instagram and social and Twitter and all these things like are just now being birthed, in the sense of we have them on our devices, or they're even a topic of discussion. So when everyone was coming over to our room and Monica was cooking, it was just us sitting there talking. And I did not have a Twitter, and I did not have an Instagram. And you have a Twitter? No. And I remember that day I sat there and I made my fucking Twitter in that room in 2012, in July of 2012. And this gets into how I met Yana. So I'm a Hebrew Israelite. When I had the Twitter, I originally just made it based off of what I thought my identity was at the time. So it was just me, Danielle, sports, ... Then when I became a Hebrew Israelite, I don't know when I created that, actually. Fuck when I created. The point is, it was 2012. And the point is what I'm saying now. I would change it to match the identity of who I saw myself as. So when I originally made it, it was pretty blank. Like, it was just whatever, just sports, whatever. Then when I became a Hebrew Israelite, I then changed my Twitter account to match my identity of being that. So I changed my name to like Yaw's Kid or some shit. And based off of, you know, what I had been searching on Twitter, they started recommending all these people. They started recommending all these people that had similar interests to me, meaning were Hebrew Israelites. So all I did was look at their name, and then I would click follow. I'm like, oh, I would just start following, because it was also an informational thing. Just, you know, what are you talking about? And ... I mean, I was in the GOCC that month when I was home for my fucking for winter break. I went to the GOCC meetings locally. Like, the dude came and picked me up in his red Charger, and I was like, this is the truth, you know. In my mind, I was like, yo, this is it. I finally got the truth. I'm gonna be this shit for real. Hardcore. He pulled
up in a Charger.
No, I thought it was the truth before that. That's why I told him to come pick me up. I need to start going to my meetings, and I'm in this shit. So yeah, so I was serious. So he came and picked me up.
I'm just saying, Ocama, you know why I'm laughing.
Oh, I do.
Because you once know again, if I was doing. Okay.
Yeah. So how I became aware of your person is just Twitter recommending some people I might want to follow because of the same interests. All right. Like I said, I went to a meeting, and then I went to the meetings, and I was just like, he was like hoeing with one of the emails that was there. And I'm like, I'm trying to learn some shit. And she's like, oh, I don't know this and I don't know that. I'm like, it's always that with me with these bitches. I'm like, huh?
Was it GOCC related?
Yeah, I remember they had local chapters everywhere.
Well, you
So
do know that I was with the head honcho in New York.
yeah, I
And
know.
on the radio
I
station.
came to find that out later. I came to find that out fucking later. We were in the same sect. I was
Hold
just
on,
in.
I
I
didn't
was
even
just
know this
dealing with.
until this moment. We were in the same sect, the same cult.
Yeah, I was just dealing with the local chapter in Fort Lauderdale because they had local chapters. They'd like hit up so and
No,
so for the chapter in
no,
Fort Lauderdale.
stop it.
I
No,
went to
sis,
the
you've
meeting.
never told me this detail. I've never heard this before. You were
Really?
literally in Geo. No, you've never told me this detail because we just didn't care. We moved on. We're like,
Wow.
who cares about that? You were
Yeah,
in
I
this.
did not get.
I was in New York City with Gabar, the elder of the GOCC, with the radio
Yeah,
show head honchos. So you were literally in the same sect as me.
yeah, just in the Fort Lauderdale chapter
I
because
was
that's
in
where I
that
live.
too. When I was in Miami, I was in that chapter. Then I went to New York. So it was like we
Now
were,
you were in Miami. You weren't in Fort Lauderdale.
I might as well have been because it was Miami and that was the same vibe of like, there wasn't that many Hebrew Israelites in Miami. It was North Miami.
No, there
So
wasn't that many in Lauderdale either. We went to this. He took me
what
to
I'm
because
saying
I
is we
went
were
to the meeting.
doing it at the same time in the same place.
Yeah.
I was in
Mhm.
that area at the same time you were doing that exact same shit. And then I went from that area to see the elders. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You get it, but it's like, what the fuck? Okay, continue.
So yeah, I went to two meetings. One meeting, I went to the church. I went to where we had like it was the service. I went to an actual church. Took me to this building with no windows. It was really weird.
Now, can you get
Um,
into some details, my nigga? Because we need to hear those details.
well,
Because I went to a place too. We need to, what happened with you in the meeting at the Hebrew Israelite.
well, well, shit.
What was that?
Well,
What
the
happened? You
first.
said no windows.
Okay, so there was two. Mind you, now looking at it, I was wilding because you got to think I'm 19, telling some nigga to come pick me up. I have no idea who the fuck he is. Comes to my house, picks me up. I have no idea where the fuck he's taking me. I'm just like,
Well, long story short, GOCC is a sex trafficking ring, and everybody ends up in Egypt in arranged marriages. But anyways, continue. You didn't know
which
that.
that gets
I
into
found that out when I went up there. But continue. You didn't know that. Okay.
that. See, I didn't know that because that gets into because the first time he took me to this house, and then the second time we went to the church. Now the first time when he took me to this house, I don't know where the fuck I was, and there was this other female there, and she was like a hoe or whatever, and I was actually there to learn and study the fucking Bible. And he was like going over basic shit. I'm like, oh my, I remember getting mad because I'm like, we already know this. This is the basic shit. We need to get into the other shit. Like, can we, like, we should know this by. And they were like kind of flirting and it was hoe shit. And that was a red flag for me because I was like, yo, what the fuck? She's not even serious. Why are you even sitting here with her? Like, get out of the fucking way. Like, I'm trying to learn. Like, and the fact that you're sitting there catering to her in this way lets me know you're a hoe too. You feel me? It was just hoe vibes. And that was the
The
main
Most
thing.
High is mostly disappointed.
So that was, and then like they're like drinking the little wine shit, and I was hardcore. I was like, no
Now,
wine. I don't care.
were they wearing the thing? Were they like dressed like what the dudes
She did
dress?
not have her head wrapped. I
Didn't
had
have a
my
head
head
wrap?
wrapped. No, she had a head full of weave, and I was like, what the
No,
fuck is going
they
on?
don't allow that at the meetings because
Who
the
you
men ran
telling?
the meetings. The women were supposed to be seen and not heard.
No
The
shit.
less
No shit. No shit. So I knew the protocols of Zion. All right. I already knew what was up. I can't and by this, you gotta know this too was after I had shaved my head too. This was like I did my big chop. That was my first big chop where I cut off all my perm hair. So I just had my natural hair and I had my head fucking wrapped with my t-shirt. That's how I fucking did it. So that was the first meeting. That kind of threw me. I was just like, oh, okay, like y'all are some hoes. And I was like, well, okay, whatever. It's her. She's a hoe. Okay, let's get her out of the way. So then the second time I went to the actual church service. Like, that's the ones
I
that they would
literally
broadcast.
just realized, hold on, I have to say this because it's in my head. I just realized what your tattoo is. It is
What?
literally a viper fangs. Viper face. Like, what the fuck? Continue.
So then they took me to this church, and this church, I believe the church was like more in the Hollywood area, in the Dania. I think it was like Hollywood, which is ironically that's where my mom was born, and that's where I was born, in Hollywood Memorial Hospital. So it was somewhere in like the Hollywood Dania area, but it had no windows, and there was a good amount of people. I mean, it wasn't like packed, but there was people in there. There was a white guy or Hispanic guy. He was there. I was like, as I was taking in, everybody was there. And one of my main points of memories being there was, they started talking about how you have to have a man because that's who covers your head.
You gotta have a man who covers you.
Who covers you in Yeshua's eyes and all that shit. And so I remember I got scared and I got nervous because I'm like, I ain't got a man. So I went up to him and I'm like, what I say? Oh my God. I was like, I said, so what happens if you don't have a man? Like, does that mean I'm not covered? Like, what, and I forgot what he told me. He said something, as long as you ba and dot that, and I wish I remember what that nigga said. But that was like my.
They were getting is they gonna get you a man for you. Mm-hmm. About not having a man, they gonna arrange.
Arrange. And this, what turned the tide, because you got, at this point, I'm following you on Twitter, right? And this gets into.
I did not know that you were following me on Twitter.
Yeah, because I started
during this time you were following me on Twitter. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yes, because this is you're part of the reason why I said fuck Hebrew Israelites. Okay, and GOCC.
I saved you. I actually did something.
Once again, you have to combining my what I was experiencing
at all today.
Yeah, I swear I told you this, but combining.
When I came out of that cult, I have to say this. You don't know all of the details because I really have never cared to share that rabbit hole with you, just like you never cared. Okay, blah, blah, blah. When I came out of that sect with the elders of the entire operation, and I knew they kicked me out. Like they kicked me to the curb of New York City and Brooklyn. Like they said, you got to go, because they knew that I knew what was going on. And then I went on Twitter because Twitter was.
You did.
And I pounded the keyboard, exposing.
Oh, you did. Oh, yeah, I read it all, girl. I read it all. I read it all. And I read it all, and I trusted. I trusted every word you said, because one thing, it wasn't just what you were saying; it was coupled with my own feeling and my own experience. So it was like validation of, okay,
I saved you from the cult. Before I even knew you.
So it was like once again, I got, I was back at school, because I went to the meetings when it was winter break. So I was in Fort Lauderdale. That's how I was able to do it. So, I went back into school with that same, mentality or whatever. And I saw you on Twitter going off about Sony and the nigga with fucking with the wife of one of the bitches, and he died.
No. It's a lot. We don't need to.
It's a lot.
Details, because this is all for Floki. That's a data file. Blah blah blah. But no, the elder Gabar, that was the head of the GOCC New York chapter of Brooklyn. It ties into Egypt. They'll send you over there, and they'll basically.
Oh yeah, I wanted to go.
I did too. They'll send you over there, and you'll get stuck in a compound where they take away everything they knew, and it's a whole bunch of shit. Okay.
I found that out from you. Yes.
Yeah, because that's what they fucking do. I found that out in New York. Anyways, but the whole point is somebody got sacrificed. No, literally, like a nigga got sacrificed. They sacrificed a nigga. So the dude because I went up there to collaborate with violin with a guitarist named Joshua Asieris. And they were getting ready to pump him musically into the music industry. And his family relative worked at Sony in A&R. And her husband died mysteriously, suddenly, and then he was getting ready to blow up. And I'm like, aha. And then he was fake crying. I remember the day when he was like, oh, my, because he was on his way to go see him. And I said, you sacrificed him. And he snapped on me. And I said, wow, you actually did do that. I thought that
Did.
was fake. Well, I didn't even believe in blood sacrifice because I'm like,
Right.
yeah, who's to really say? But I'm like, he got so upset that I knew he was fake crying because he had been fucking his brother's wife, you see, who worked at
Yeah,
Sony
yeah, that one.
and all.
Yeah,
He was
yeah, yeah.
fucking
You told me that.
her. And their children kept feces in jars. Okay, I went over there. I was in the house. I saw this shit with my own two eyes. Some satanic, weird ass fucking shit. No, her son, the
Yeah, I don't never told me
it's a
that.
lot of shit.
Shit.
We don't even care. But the point is, it's trash. They're the bud sacrifice and pimping and all sorts of sick shit. Them Hebrew Israelites. That's why I don't fuck with the Most High people. Okay.
Mhm. And so I was reading what you were saying on Twitter, and you also were talking about how they're racist and all the shit. And then this gets into my own personal, because I wasn't 100% relying on what you were saying to make decisions in my life. No, I was relying
That's
on my
good.
feeling, who I want to be. Huh? Yeah. So, I got back, and at this point, I'm not involved with InterVarsity. All those people that I was kicking it with, I totally said fuck you. I had nothing to do with them, and most of them were mainly quote unquote white, right? So one of the dudes that you know about, Drew, I was really close with him. That was my guy friend at the time. I spent a lot of time with him, like my first semester. So before I really started hanging out with Monica, that's who I spent most of my time with, was Drew. Riding around the city, went to his church. He comes from a family of his dad was a pastor or whatever. So I spent a lot of time with him, and da da da. So I was close with him in that way, and I ended up saying fuck him. And the day that I knew that I was no longer going to be affiliated with the Hebrew Israelitism was one day I was in the lounge. It was called Davis 130, and it was just the lounge on campus where had a piano, TV, pool table, tables, vending machine. It's just where we went to kick it on campus. I was sitting in there, and then Drew was in there. So, and it had been a while since I had even seen him or talked to him. And we sat down and we talked a little bit. And, one of the things he said, he was like, I miss this, da, 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 because that's all we would do. We would just hang out. And I knew in that moment that I was like, that what they're preaching and what they're saying, I said, I can literally, because it's racist. Because it calls for you to hate somebody just because of what they look like. And in that moment, I
And
said, I
there is
can't.
literally, we can get deeper, but we're not gonna do it.
No, no,
When
no,
you really
no,
get into what there's, it's such
no.
trash.
It's such trash.
There's
That's why
no
this.
literal evidence at all. And I would argue with them because they're like, well, you're from the tribe of, what did they say? When you're not, when they label you, because I'm like, I'm literally not white. And I would just say that to them, and they'd be like, well, and they're like, no, you're with Esau. You're the tribe of Esau. And then I'm
Esau,
like, then why the hell you have me up in here anyways, since I'm going to be burned like the chaff and all
the,
this
the
shit.
devil.
And
Yeah,
then you
since
try
I'm the
to
devil.
pair me up, and they tried to arrange a marriage with me and that Joshua Osieres dude. And I'm like, well, how will you?
Yeah.
I'm a Esau. How the hell you gonna pair me with him? And then all this other nonsense. And I'm like, wait a second, let's really analyze the depths of this history. And it's just garbage. And then I
It's
started
garbage.
doing other research that there's this other whole thing going on where the white folks are saying they're the real 12 tribes of Israel. And that's what Floki got involved in after many moons after and that's when I was like, really? You're going to now be in what we used to
Yeah.
be in? Like, but
And
anyways,
I didn't even know they had a white version
girl,
until
they've been
Floki was
preaching,
it, and
girl,
I was like, oh shit.
the white
Like,
Hebrew
not
Israelites.
because they're not the
The same
Jewish
shit, it's just
people.
the white version.
But yeah, it's literally the same shit.
It's the
Yeah.
same fucking
So
shit.
So the day I let that and once again, it was coupled with a lot of shit because taking once again, the religion was supposed to be a cover for me just feeling bad, period. All right. Really. So it didn't work.
It worked
Like
for
I
a
was
little while. You felt good doing them
for
rituals
a
and
little
that
while,
diet.
but then
You did serving God.
for a little while, but then I still felt shitty. I was still lying because at this point I was a pathological liar. It's my category of lying is what I would call it because there's different categories or levels. I was a cold-blooded liar, like someone who's a cold-blooded killer, meaning I would just make shit up out of thin air where that didn't even happen at all. Like at all. I would just make it up.
Did you
So I
like
was
give
a
me an example of a cold-blooded lie you told? Do you remember?
pathological liar.
What kind of
Yeah,
cold-blooded lies did you tell?
this is the type of because this is the thing. I was still a cold-blooded pathological liar when I was a Christian, and then the Hebrew Israelitism was supposed to save me from that. And I'm like, I wasn't. I still had it. Oh, this is what I was lying about.
What were you lying about?
Yo, because I don't. It's crazy. Oh
What
my
the hell
God.
did you say?
Or I wear my shame on my face. When I was a Christian, I would make up relationships with females that acted like I had a relationship with this female when I didn't at all, like nothing. Like
I don't get
one
that.
of the things. This is
Go
what
into that because that don't make no sense. What do you mean?
you about to hear.
Okay,
I
let's
would
hear it.
lie, like a nigga that lied and said he fucked a bitch when he didn't. That's what I was lying about. There's a slew of shit, but that was like I had this main story that I had this ex-girlfriend named Sabrina. Not true at all. From high school.
You were
Now the only
lying.
truth
No.
was it is
No, you
friend.
fucking crazy bitch. Listen. So you were out here lying about being a lesbian.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were literally making up stories about having relationships with females. So you were lying about being a lesbian.
Yeah, I never did any of that shit. Yeah.
You're nuts. You were nuts. I don't know about you anymore, but continue.
Yeah. So I say it's progress. At least I ain't lying about making shit up no more. God damn. It was really bad. It was really bad.
Well,
I
good
felt
for
really
you.
bad
Making
about myself for a long time. So like there was one night when this is when I was in the Christian.
Well, I have to say this just as a caveat. I also have told some what I would consider, because who's the one who says what it is, I feel like I've told some cold-blooded lies too in the last few years, that they were based off of my own survival, and I tapped deep into like Native American hiding from the white man, and I just did what a bitch had to do. But I didn't come back. I said I'm coming back, and I never did. It's shit like that.
Oh yeah, mine was not that at all. It wasn't survival based at all. It was pretty conniving. So yeah, like this is when I was a Christian. I remember this night. It was after I was in the InterVarsity shit, and it was after I think a Bible study or some shit that we had, and there was a group leader who like she was older and used to go to the university, but her job was like running the group for all of us or whatever. She was like, you could call her the manager. Her name was Cassie, and I went to Cassie and I started my shit where I just make shit up. I said, Cassie, what do I do when my ex keeps texting me which is ironic now that looking. Anyway, what do I do? What do I do when my ex keeps texting me? She keeps texting my phone, and getting away from the part of it being a cold-blooded lie.
No, I need to know. I need to know why you just did that.
That's what I'm getting into.
There was a reason why you. Okay.
It was a certain feeling that I would get when I would feel I would need some type of attention and I would need some care from somebody. That I would do that. I would lie. I would use that as a way to get somebody to just care about me and like have some sense of urgency about my person. So I dealt with that. I know why.
Why at that time? This is kind of a stupid question, maybe. Why wasn't the truth good enough to get you some goddamn care and attention? Because your life story, the truth of it was pretty shitty. So why couldn't you? Why didn't you feel like the truth was enough to get care and attention? You about to start crying?
That's not what I'm used to. No, that's not what I was used to. Because my mom is you have to be sick or dying, because that was my mom. My mom was the type to go to the hospital to get care. You feel me? So the only way you get care is through tragedy, pain, and fucking just total distraughtness. Is that
maybe why? I didn't know that, actually. You've never told me that detail about your mom. Is that maybe why you've done the destructive physical violence towards yourself, because that means now somebody will give you some affection?
No, with you, okay. No, that hasn't been a part of it.
Okay,
no.
I didn't know if that. You've never told me.
expression. No, that I expressed that through the cold-blooding lying. That's how I fed my feeding in terms, because it's also a sickness. Like it's I knew I was being a parasite. Like I knew it was sick. It wasn't. I knew I was feeding, and you know how we talk about you're just wanting to feed off of somebody. I knew I was feeding, and it came from a place of depravity, and then it's also jumbled into I don't have care. This is the only way I know how to get care is to feed.
I just need to understand this. You knew you were feeding. So what did it
Yeah.
feel like when you felt your fangs go into them and they started to pump you full of what you were looking for? What did that feel like?
There's a certain level of first it was released like and then I would feel bad because I knew I lied to get it. I knew it wasn't true.
I see.
I knew
And
I lied.
what happened
I
after
knew I
that?
lied.
So then what happened after that? Once you felt bad, because then what happened?
That's a good question, because I don't remember what I did after that. I just remember the night of me doing it and me going up to her with my phone, and then when I preparing myself to do it, like I'm about to lie to her right now to get this, and then I don't remember what happened after that. But
you felt a low after you got the feed.
Yeah, because I knew it was bullshit.
Now, let me ask you this, not trying to deviate from the historical timeline, but have you ever lied to me cold-bloodedly? Have you ever told, because I'm just going off of me. I don't personally feel you've ever cold-blooded lied to me, ever.
No.
Have you? Maybe I'm dumb over here, because we know I'm dumb.
Have I? No. Of that nature, of like,
I don't feel you
when I know I'm cold-blooding feeding lie to you? No, I've never done that to you. No, I've not ever fed off of you in that way. No.
And I feel, maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I've always hunted every secret out of you, to the point where then you became running from the very, since that was your behavior before meeting me, then I'm the person who's hunting down every nuance of your and secrets of your soul. So now you're running, then you literally, don't ever forget that you literally ran in the desert, bitch, with yoke behind
you. You know
asshole. No, you
damn, I did. I ran multiple times.
Took the knife and ran.
I did.
You could. I watched you run away from me with Yoki, and then I cried. I thought you both had gone missing. I cried and had to say, well, maybe I'll have to drive down the damn road, where you know where the fuck we were.
Yeah, no, we just got lost.
You, with your bad eyesight, did not know where the fuck, and I screamed for hours looking for you, and fucking Yoki thought you were dead, because I'm like, we're in the desert, my nigga, and you have Yoki, and there's no water up here, you fucking...
I had water. I had water.
I went to that damn cave. I went to that cave up there looking for your fucking bitch ass, and
I followed me.
And I hated that I was looking for you. Oh, I hated myself. I've hated myself so much for knowing that you're putting me through so much stress and hell. And I am going to be a dum-dum. And I said, you know what? If it wasn't for Yoki, I would have let your ass sit out there and die, because I heard just let her die out there. Because
I told you. I said, leave me alone. Let me die out here.
Yeah, and then I felt compelled to not let that happen, because I'm like, you fucking asshole. I cannot literally let you die in this fucking desert, you piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
But then you're like, no, I have to die. I have to die. It's always been your thing. No, let me die. And you've tortured me with that shit for years. That is a fact.
I have tortured you with let me die.
Tortured me with let me die. That's why you and him are fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledick over there, because you both have done the same fucking thing to me. Let me die. Let me die. Cutting yourselves in front of me, self-harming in front of me, and then me trying to save your fucking shitty fucking lives. but you longer than him. That's
Yeah,
why
I
you're
know.
up
Me.
tonight, nigga.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, I've ran away from you more than once. Then there was the time.
I'm not a saint, by the way. We know I
Huh?
have my problems. I'm just talking about the dynamic.
No, that the let me die and kill
Yeah,
myself and.
plot line. Let me die. Let me go.
Mhm. Yeah, it's pretty pathetic when I look at it now, but when I'm doing it, like the most.
Very Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio. Let me die, and
Yeah,
you fall to the bottom of the ocean because you have
yeah.
nothing to live for.
The second time I literally ran away was when we were in Florida, where we
Yeah.
took Yoki to that one spot,
Mhm.
huh?
Oh yeah, go
That
ahead.
where that river.
Oh, hold on. I have
No, yeah,
no. I have
yeah.
pictures somewhere about it. Hold on. Let me see if I have them. There are pictures to prove this.
There are.
I don't think I have them. I don't have them up here. I just have this picture of Yoki. Because that is literally her car. That's the day I got that car. In Missouri.
I know you.
That was the day I got the car, and she got in the damn driver's seat and would not get out. This
Already
bitch would not
knew.
get out of the fucking car. Because you know her. I'm like, get out of the damn driver's seat. And she would not get out. Sis, no, literally. I was like, okay, now we saw the car, time to get out. I had never driven her in a car before. This was our
Yeah.
first car together. When I used to take that damn the farm car to go to the store, she would chase me for miles down the dirt road because I didn't take her with me. So
Oh
that was
yeah, I know the Yoki takes the car.
so I had to remember
Mhm.
that. I'm like, that was her first car, and she would not get the fuck out of it. She was in it for like 3 hours. She drove
Dead ass serious. Dead
everybody
ass serious.
did she, and don't, let's be real, did Yoki not drive me nuts? You know, with the
What?
some of her, her being Yoki, which there's nothing wrong with her
Oh
being.
yeah.
Did she not
No.
drive me nuts to a point?
Oh yeah.
She did. Everybody I love drives me nuts.
Yeah, and the time I ran away from you, Flora, is because you told me to call my mom.
Yeah, and you screamed, and then you ran
I
as
did.
fast as
I
you
forgot.
screamed.
I screamed, but did I call her though? I called her.
No, let me tell you what you did. You demented bitch. I
Fuck
said,
that
because
bitch.
we had gone for a nice walk, and we had gone for a nice, relaxing walk. I got pictures of that time. We went for a nice, relaxing walk. No, it's actually the photos. It's the you sitting under the tree. It's the little tree. It's on my YouTube page. Hold on, let me show it. I have it. I have to show the photos. I'll let you see what the fuck you look like, you demented whore. Let's see. After all of that
I've seen
surgery, we're still ugly, and that is what gets me. Hold on. Hold on. I want you to see the picture of that day because we only went to that park one time.
twice. We went twice.
Oh, we did?
We went twice. Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact we had taken these photos, whether it happened on this day or not,
Yeah,
and I want you to
motherfuckers
see
talking that shit, talking
this
about
fucking
wild lead or mafia
um
six, is bull and
I want you
triple
to see
six.
this motherfucking
Nigga,
photograph.
I am triple six. Fuck you talking about, man. I grew up around the same shit the rest of them niggas grew up around. Fuck you mean? Popped off in that old school.
And we were in Dan's Tesla. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, because we only drove the Tessie with the Messy. We didn't drive our damn car. So let's see. Let me show you these photos real quick. Hold on. Not that. That's my tragic. Hold on. It's not too far away. Just let me get through the proof that I was in High Island photos. It's right here somewhere. Hold on. We don't care. Nobody gives a fuck. Okay. Nobody cares. We're almost there. Hold on. because it starts off with a picture, and then we'll see that day. We'll just say it was this day because it's the same fucking. Can I get down the thing? Holy shit! How many photos do I have? Hold on. Not these. Not that. With your urine printing on us. Here we go. Here we go. Right here. This is that bitch. Here you are.
Yep.
Okay. And in this exact place where we went for a nice relaxing walk, what happened in this place?
Well, I don't remember what I knew. I know I did some shit, but I don't remember what I did. All I remember is you telling me I need to call my mom, and that's when I flipped my shit and I literally ran
Started
away.
screaming at the top of your lungs.
Yeah. Fuck that.
And then you took
Yeah.
the phone and you ran, and then you called her. And then you said, fuck you, bitch. And then
No, that's not what I said.
What did you say?
I did say fuck you, but I said, you think that I hate you, but I don't. Fuck you. And I just screamed that.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the phone call. I forgot about that until tonight. Wow.
Damn it.
Yeah, could you imagine she's still trying to talk to me?
What do you remember about
all
Floki? Not trying to deviate.
I remember Floki's smile. There's this specific smile of Floki that's burned into my brain. So whenever you say Floki, that is who and what I see. And it's one of the nights where there was no mosquitoes, and he was doing some night fishing, and I was fishing with him, just, hanging out with him. Because remember we used to have our headlights. Remember, that was a thing. I totally forgot about that. You remember that? Our headlights that we would wear around our heads to shine the light. So it was one of the, magical nights on the beach where the winds were high. I think it was maybe that usually happened on like a full moon. The winds were high. There was no mosquitoes. We got a nice breeze, good temperature. And it was just one of those nights where we could be outside, out of the tent, and we didn't have to follow the protocols. And so,
mosquitoes of Zion.
Yes, and Yoki could run out. So we were sitting. Something happened to Floki's rod, and I think we had taken mushrooms. And because by this time I was like, okay, I need to embrace him and just like. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was triggered out there. So I was trying to not be triggered. You feel me? And I remember that night, I'm like, we're just gonna chill. So that's what we're doing. He was fishing and he was trying to fix his rod or whatever. And he had a light over his head. And I was just trying to help. So I didn't put my head to shine a light. And he was like, I'm good, Ocama. And I was like, we were both laughing because I was just like doing the most with shining my light on his light. And I just remember his smile when I was doing that because like it was just funny. So that's what's burned like in my brain is just I just see his smile with his little goatee and his mustache, just his fucking smile. That's yeah.
Well, are you aware that that nigga ain't smiling anymore?
Yeah, you told me. Unfortunately. And I remember this night, I know me and him both pissed you off. It was the night of As Long As My Pants Stay Dry. When I don't know if that was the night. I don't know what night that. I don't know if that was the night where he dressed up.
No, it'd be
what? But
good time. I think maybe it was the day after. It's hard to say. It was probably the day after.
Yeah, I don't think it was that night.
I don't know, but
yeah,
because it was raining a lot.
It was raining. Yeah, you were like, You had said something, or you were trying to do something with the
I was
tent. You
trying
were
to
trying
get
to
all of the
convert.
clothes and get everything situated because it was raining. And
And
I
I had
was
said,
getting
fuck it.
soaked trying. Y'all were just sitting in the car dry as fuck. And I was outside trying to make sure everything stayed dry.
Because I said, fuck it. Because I was like, it's too late. I was like, it's too late. And I just sat in there with Fluky. And I said, because I told him, I'm like,
I was
these are my
mad.
last. I was like, these are my last pants. I am not going out there. I don't care what happens as long as my fucking pants stay dry. And we literally laughed the whole time. We're like, as long as my pants stay dry. I'm like, hell yeah, these are my last pants. I said, fuck it. I cannot get these pants wet. I refuse. And I just sat in the car, and you were out there trying to put the shit on. And I had said, fuck it, it's already over. And he sat in there with me. Yeah.
You know what's so fucked up, Ocama?
What?
Here we come. Here comes Debbie Downer.
Bring it down. Bring us down.
Because we know we're having a good time reminiscing on the past. And of course, I had to bring up Floki because it all ended up leading to the sacred spot. And, you know, I've thought about him for years, you know. And we both know, have we not? I mean, have we talked about Floki throughout the years? Can we just really get into that? And all of the places that we've been, we don't have to sit and fucking discuss every person and place, but you know, all the places that we've been, but who have we remembered? You know what I mean? Can you get into that from your side? Because we know that I've been running my mouth for 30 hours straight.
Who have we remembered? Well, there's key people. Fluffy obviously is one of them.
And I'm coming from the stance of knowing that we've traveled a lot since we left High Island. Floki may not know that, but you know, it's helping of meeting a lot of people in a lot of places.
Based off of where all the people that we met, there's only 3, if I put them in clusters of people.
And speak for yourself, don't speak for me. Because you were traveling with me. We're only hearing my side.
There's 3, and then I'll put 4 with an asterisk on that group. I will talk about what that 4th asterisk group is. There's Floki. He's one group. In terms of people that are like, that's imprinted in me, like the whole, and we met a lot of people. Floki is imprinted. Suzanne and the whole clan, they're imprinted. Dan, Lake Como, Candy, that's an imprint. And then I will add, Mark and Mary, not so much for me, but Bob and Chris I add an it's not a total imprint in the same way, but I do. Oh, actually, I'll put Bob and Chris there. Not really, like kind of like this.
I'm saying speak for yourself, not me.
I know. I know. I'm saying
whoever really imprinted you, okay?
Bob and Chris, I'll say like this. It's not the total imprinting, and then Candace and Corey and Johnny in Missouri. That was an imprint too. It's not fully as much as Suzanne, Lake Como, and Floki, but they're also imprints. So those are the plus.
Heaviest order. What's the heaviest?
The heaviest order is Floki, Suzanne, Dan with Lake Como, Bob and Chris, and then Corey and Corey and Candace. Bob and Chris, Corey and Candace kind of have the same, like, a little imprinting, but I would say Corey and Candace have a little bit more imprint than Bob and Chris, just because when I put in the totality, it wasn't just like I put in the kids and everybody, the whole thing. Yeah.
Are you aware that I never think of those people?
Yeah.
So now we're being honest. Like, this is my first time talking about this. We've traveled a lot of places, lived a lot of places, and we were totally enmeshed where we lived. We weren't visiting. We were not vacationing. We were totally immersed in the local culture of those people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this gets into the freaky deaky shit, right? Now, you just listed people in your particular order of who has the most weight and has been the heaviest in your spirit for until today, right?
Well, no, I'm not saying that these are. They're just. I don't even, because I don't even think about any of those people really that I listed. I'm just saying in terms of an impact of I can note and touch to a certain point. Yeah, but there's not. They haven't been on my mind. I don't sit around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I
They
don't.
haven't been on my mind either. But Floki
Yeah.
is, for me, the most impactful out of everybody. And we met him first,
Mhm.
and that was the longest to go. But
Mhm.
he's been the heaviest in my spirit out of all the people that we met, and he was at the very beginning.
Mhm.
I mean, I just saw Dan in Lake Como in February of last year, and I spent a month there, a month and some change, and I forgot he existed until the other day, and I texted his ass just to say what's up, but I don't give a fuck what happens. Suzanne and
Yeah, I
them,
forgot
I think about them every
until
now
just
and again,
now.
and sometimes I've had the urge to write her, but I don't really give a fuck, and Bob and Chris never crossed my mind until you mention it, and sometimes I remember that the tattoo on my ankle was hinted by Chris, but I
Oh, I
don't be
just remember that. Wow.
yeah, they never crossed my mind, even though we spent 3 months with them in Apalachicola and went to Michigan to go see her homeland, and it was horrible. And then Johnny in Missouri, we spent how many months with him in his meth campsite, and then we lived with Candace and Corey and the crackheads and took care of their children, and they never crossed my mind. And that was 2008.
Never.
But Floki
I know.
was how many months together? Not that many, and I just saw his ass, and that was like a couple of days ago, and it's like no time had ever passed, and that was the longest to go. So what the fuck does that mean? Do you feel like Yoki, or excuse me, not Yoki, Floki was your friend? I don't know how. I don't know I've been only
Based
living in
off of, am-
just based off of you and your relationship with him. Do you feel like y'all were friends?
yes and no. Yes and no. Just, and I say the no is the limitations that both of us had based off of what we had going on individually, emotionally before we ever met each other. Do I ever feel like Floki was intentionally like, oh, fuck you, like, didn't have any softness towards me? Mm-mm. He did. But once again, like, just look at me and how I was triggered when y'all were together. Like, was that personal to him and me wanting to just be a piece of shit to him? No, that has, because I was 23, he was 24, 25. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just
Just
noting
state the facts of what happened.
those are, you know, so it's a yes and a no in the sense of I don't, yeah, it's a yes and a no. Just like when I evaluate his relationship with you, and this gets,
Say what you need to say.
do I feel like he didn't care about you at all? No, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like it was just, you know, just fucking this bitch on the beach. I don't feel like that was the 100% all encompassing dynamic, like a Michael. You feel me?
I
Um,
agree.
um, but this gets into
That doesn't
this was
make me
what
feel any
this is,
better, but I agree. Just please
huh?
lay it out. I need you to lay it out on the line, please.
But this gets into what the issue was then of, because remember, the ideology, part of the ideology and the basis of y'all's relationship was Yana's going to save me, heal me. She's going to heal me.
Oh, I
And
forgot
you
that.
offered that up. That was a huge, I'm not saying it was all of it, but that was one of the pillars of the relationship.
I forgot
Yana's
about
going
that.
to heal you.
Yeah, and I believed
And
I
you
was.
had
You're right.
the,
Go ahead.
yes.
You read it. You read it. Read the situation, please.
So that in itself was toxic. Just that, that was a toxic element because it's just not true. You were not going to heal him. You were not going to save him. You couldn't, you can't. Nobody can do that for anybody. So the fact that that was involved added a certain layer of toxicity, stress, impossibility, and total frustration and irritation on both sides. So, I mean, yeah, it just wasn't true.
And I will say that I know for a fact that when I saw him, I felt the desire to save him all over again. Like, if I could, I fucking would.
I know.
And I still, in a sense, feel that way. If I could save him, I fucking would.
If you could, what?
If I could save him, I fucking would.
Right.
I want to rescue him. Not as a pet, not as a dog from the pound, but just like, I want him to be happy. And I did not know at the time if it was me that was making him, it was too much. I can see that now, but I know for a fact when I was with him and I know that it was pure carnage because I saw it when I was on that beach, Ocama. That's why I say it's amazing that we survived. And I mean that on a lot of different levels. But in this case, we're talking about emotionally carnage. There was emotional carnage on that beach. I saw the gore with my own 2 eyes.
There was a lot.
I'm not talking about the physical punishment of the elements and the survival of the day and the salt and the sun. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the emotional carnage. I felt
there was a lot of.
I felt it like I felt it like it had never gone anywhere. Like I walked into it and I saw it on our campsite. I saw the blood and the gore of me and Floki's relationship. And you. And Yoki she was just running around living her life, but she really wanted us to all love each other, God damn it. But she wasn't trying to save none of us.
It was pure emotional gore out there for sure. For sure. It was a lot of emotional anguish.
A lot.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the smell of it when I was out there. I smelled it and I said, oh, it was the best times and it was the worst time of my adult life. It was both. And I also saw, because this is me looking back at it, so I did feel it, experience it, and grieve it. I wish I felt that I had still, and I still maybe feel this way, but when I was there, I was crying and I sat at our campsite and I cried because I wished in that moment, and I couldn't share this with you because I wasn't, my phone was dying and I wanted to experience it, not call you on the phone like a bitch and be like, oh my God, I'm crying. I wanted to live it. And I felt that I wished that I had done something differently, because if I had only done something differently, the outcome would have been different.
Different, right?
And then that happened all of those days. And then when I saw him, I wish you could have seen him. When I saw the final product of what I consider to be, once again, it's not my fault, but I know that, in the sense of he's been on a trajectory before. He was on his own trajectory. I saw his life before me too when I was there for the first time, clearly, because once we got involved, it was too much for me to sort everything out and really understand. As much as I was trying to get it and I was wanting to get it right, I couldn't see his life before me and separate that from me to know
Hmm.
what was me causing him pain and what was his own pain pre-existing me, all of that pushing together. And when I finally saw him after 3 days of me sitting there and because all of this is why when I saw him, I felt what I felt, because I had already been in the trenches of the past, looking at it,
Hmm.
and not even looking at it, living it all over again. When I saw him, I felt very, very bad. And I did not feel angry at him. I was not happy at all to see him in that state.
Hmm.
And for a fact that I hated him when I left High Island. I wished death
Oh
on him.
yeah.
I hated him. I wanted him to die 1,000 deaths. You know this about me. I put bones in his
Hmm.
yard. I did all of my stupid native voodoo, die, whore, bitch, die. And then when I saw him, you know, I said, this is your karma. Like,
Right.
I'm not happy to see that. One would
Yeah,
think
I
that
was not.
I would be very pleased to see that he's been suffering, because let
I
me
was
just
not
say this,
happy
Ocama.
to
Let me just say
hear
this,
that.
because we
Right.
know also it wasn't just how we left our relationship with the I fuck. You're the one who told me he said that, by the way. You told me, and I
Hmm.
quote, that he said to you, I fucked 2 bitches at my uncle's funeral. You're the one who said that,
Yeah,
correct?
and when he told me, yes, and when he told me, I said, Floki, that's gay. And then that was it. And I told you.
Right. And so you know how we left off our relationship, and you know that when we came back, I reached out to him and I tried to connect with him, and you know that you hung out with him, right? When we came back to Highland from Houston, did you hang out with him?
See, I can't remember if that
I'm
was,
pretty sure
I
that
think it was after,
I'm pretty sure
because how,
was it or was it
I,
before when it was on a
I think it
dwindling?
was before. I think it was before, because that second time, I didn't have any contact with him. Mm-mm. It was before. It was before where there was a split, and then I hung out with him and I was talking with him. Or maybe no, you know what it was? Okay, I hung out with him I think it was before, but the specific moment of after we came back and we were on the beach and you were reaching out to him. I went to his house because it was the day we found all those bones. And I told him, I was like, Floki, we just found a bunch of bones like
Oh yeah.
on the beach. Do you want to come? And then that's when he was saying, I just need to focus on myself and da 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 and blah blah blah.
And you came back to the beach because I had my hope. Remember that? I had my hope that he would come back, and you reported to me that he said that, and I felt devastated.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I felt devastated because I was like, wow, he's actually not going to come back.
Mhm.
And I wanted him to. Right? Okay. So that being said, we end up leaving many months later and moved to Lake Como. And then during Harvey, you remember when the phone call happened during the hurricane?
Oh, I do, because I tatted what he said on my fucking chest.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So can you fill me in on that? Because that's was all an emotional
Well,
blur.
that's we. I can't remember if we were texting first and then it evolved to a phone call and him saying he can He can no longer have anything to do with us. We're willful sinners and we're witches and da da da. So that's when I tattooed willful sinner on my chest. That was because of Floki.
I did not remember that actually.
Yeah.
Because Hurricane Harvey, this was during Harvey.
Mm-hmm. It literally was during Harvey. Like Harvey
He
was
called and then
hitting.
the phone call went dead because he was outside and he was saying all this shit. And it was so shocking to me because this was the first time that I was talking to him since we split up. Remember? Because I was sending him all those letters. Remember?
And he thought we were still on the beach, and I had to tell him. I was like, "Nah, man, we're not on the beach."
But I need you to take that in because this is what I need you to take in. I know this is all tedious shit, okay? Because we were just living and just it was everything we were in. Like everything was too much to really process all of this time. And it's like, what am I? Remember his pattern and his lifestyle when we met him. He was always coming up off that road, you know, with the crabs where we would go crabbing. He would sometimes be in that ATV riding up and back and down in the oil field road. His sister, you know, they always had the fucking ATV.
I remember.
You remember? And so there was always a sighting. Remember, we used to see him on the horizon, and we are like, I know
that's Floki.
And sometimes we would see him with his sister and her boyfriend, and we would be like, there they are. And I used to just see him from the distance. And then when we went to Houston and we came back, we didn't see that anymore. And then there was that one time I remember seeing him with his brother on the beach.
Yeah, you told me about that. Yeah.
I remember I had a bikini on and I never wore bikinis. And I saw him and his brother in the truck a little bit on the way down to the right when you're just coming to the beach. And I saw him and his brother and I knew it was him. And they got in the water and then they drove past. And then they disappeared, and we didn't see him. I remember I used to look and see if he was in the oil fields, like if there's there, because he was always out there fishing and shit.
Yeah,
so he literally stopped coming to the beach before.
Yeah, he did.
He stopped coming to the beach, and he stopped going to the oil fields to do any of his shit way before we left. So
yeah,
when he called, or when we talked to him during Harvey, I don't talk to anybody on the internet unless you're Floki. So sorry. I just cannot do it. He's too important to me right now. So as much as we'd like to move on, because it hurts our hearts, it does. So when he called during Harvey, I did not know that he thought we were still on the beach, which tells me, because I didn't take this in then in 2017, that means that he had not been out there at all to even know if we were, because you could see, by the way, you could see our campsite from where I remember seeing that vantage point. Remember when we used to drive to get wood and we would come up near that fence near the wood line where we would pick mushrooms?
Yep.
Because it's higher ground, you could literally see our campsite from that point. So if he still thought we were on the beach, that means he hadn't even been outside down that road to even see our tent on the horizon.
And that is true.
So that means
he hadn't been out there at all.
Yeah, which means he was just, what was he doing? We don't know, but so that means that from the time that we were in Houston, come back, whatever the fuck, you went up to see him. He can no longer have affiliation with him. He was just locked down at that house, meaning his mama's house, and came to some fucking conclusions. How did he come to those conclusions about us when he was never, because it was so shocking when he was on the phone with me, when he was going off about we're witches and we're evil. It was so shocking to me because he was speaking this language that was never coming out of his mouth before. And it was such a quick turnaround. Right. And then you're telling me that he had said it. He thought we were still on the beach, which tells me he was locked down in that house, wasn't doing his usual Floki stuff of on the beach, writing, because that's how I met him. Remember? I met him when he was just coming down to the beach on his own, remember?
Yep, I do.
So he wasn't even living his fishing and hunting lifestyle anymore. And he was doing whatever the fuck belief stuff. And had come to some conclusions and very quickly to have been able to
because remember he had told me about this whole experience that he had about when he was tripping off of LSD or whatever, mushrooms. I can't, one of the two, and how he saw himself nailed down to the cross and all this shit, and him being a sacrifice, and that he was telling me about that shit on the phone. Yeah, that was when he was telling me about that. That's what he had went through, basically this life altering experience, and now he can't have anything to do with us because we're evil, basically.
Right. And that's where we left off in 2017 during Harvey. We didn't talk to him. I didn't have any communication with him at all. Probably sent him some letters, and then later 2018, 19, I know it was when I was in San Antonio. I know there was a communication on Facebook, and he was still uttering, because I was thinking maybe he'll come out of this fucking brainwashed, because I was like, is he being brainwashed? Remember when I was giving you theories about what was happening? I'm like, what happened to him? Because when we left him, because remember, he basically was going through
Right.
a whole thing of like, we abandoned him and he was going to kill himself, and we were this is the things that he was saying to me. We were the happiest things that had ever happened to him.
Happened to him. I remember that. He said that to me the day his homeboys came over and they were like doing that, like when he was having his moment. And yeah, he said that to me. Yeah.
That we were the happiest.
Crying.
Yes. That we were the happiest things that had ever happened to him. So when we left, we literally took his happiness away, and he went into a dark hole. And when he was in that dark hole, he found the Bible and all sorts of shit to convince himself that we were evil. And
that day, well, the day that I went to go with the Bones to go see if he wanted to come out, he also mentioned, he's like, I got stuff I got to do around the house. He couldn't leave. And then it was also, I just need to focus on myself when just talking about the totality of y'all's relationship.
And I
just
had
wanted to throw that in.
Once again, remember also he got stabbed in the back.
Yes, he did. He literally got stabbed in the back.
So who knows what he was doing all those months when we were in Houston. Those are months we don't know about. But I had the theory that his mother had locked him down in that fucking place and wouldn't let him leave, because she was already pretty controlling of his behavior when I was dealing with him. And it was a constant fight with his freedom in regards to what she would let him do. And he was constantly getting in trouble. And I was feeling like I was having to go to war against his mom for him to be able, to be with me. And he was in bondage to his mother on one hand, but also rebelling against her, and it was a mess. So when we left him, he was just left with her, because remember, he went from rehab. Remember, it was February. He was in that rehab. And then he, I guess, probably had moved back. Who knows what was happening where he was living before he went to rehab. It was already problems. And his mom probably just locked him down, and he felt he had nothing else. So he went into this dark hole of the Bible and was still doing the drugs, and went through some fucking brainwash. I had this feeling that his mom was in his ear telling him that I had the feeling that his mom had a reason to play into his mind that I was evil, because it took the focus off of her evil. And so it just became, I'm the evil one that was hurting him. I was the evil bitch that was hurting him. Look at how she hurt you. Look at how she, because he was stuck. He didn't remember. He didn't have a car. He was totally dependent on his mom.
In every way, outside of him fishing for himself. But he even needed her permission for that.
Right. And also, it's not like he lives in Columbus, Georgia, where, you can just walk down the street and apply for a job, ask him if you have a homeboy. Like, it's High Island. So the nearest grocery store is 17 miles north or 17 miles west. And there's nothing to do on High Island at all. So he is literally tied to his mother for all of his needs, and he has to do what she says for her to give that to him. And when I left, she had full control over him. And he just lost it, apparently. And so by the time Harvey comes around, she had already done all of her work on him to have him fully possessed by her energy and convince him that I meant no good for him at all because it's her dark mother energy. She would lose possession of the only thing that was keeping her going at the time. Because I could clearly see when I was there at the house that she was a depressed ass fucking bitch, would lay on the couch all the fucking time and chain smoke cigarettes and would never go outside except to maybe check on the damn goats or something. And Floki would tell me how his mother hated that beach. So I was taking her son from her because she didn't have nobody either. So
No,
she
that's who
needed.
sat up in the house with her all day would be Floki and the dog. And the
Oh yeah,
daughter
the
is
dog. So
with the live-in
I
boyfriend.
was
Yeah.
taking her son from her because does she have anybody? And so Floki was put
Even
in
though
the. Well, no, she didn't really have a man because her man was always gone.
she's gone. I was
And I
just
could
about to say
tell
that, yeah.
that they didn't really have a very good relationship. So Floki was her total everything, the man in her life. I knew that very early on, which is why I always hated going over there. And then me and him would end up fighting because I did not like his mother at all and saw the dark hold that she had over him. And then now we're fighting about his mom. You know what I mean? And it was just really fucking horrible. You know, and I'm a grown ass woman having to ask permission to see my man, you know, and it was just fucked. And so Harvey rolls around and we just don't talk. I don't try to even, I just move on, as we say, we move on, right? Meaning we're living our lives. And then 2000, I know I end up reaching out to him and I was just checking to see if anything had changed because as you know, Ocama, even though we moved on to Lake Como in terms of physical location and we had a whole different lifestyle and people that were in our lives that occupied all of my time, as you know, Lake Como did. Because I was a live-in, basically. What did I do at Lake Como? What was my job?
Live-in home health care, really. Cooking, cleaning, I mean, cooking all throughout the day. All
Me.
while having to take care of Yoki. Yeah.
And I was taking care of somebody who could not walk barely.
Yeah, that's
And
why I say home health care.
I was cooking full course meals for 4 or 5 different people and hosting parties when they wanted to have their set. It's the whole thing. So I didn't really have time to think of Floki, you know?
No. Oh,
And then
yeah.
Floki didn't really, once that happened, I had my moment of like, what the fuck? And then I just was like, oh, well, you know, I'm living naked with these crazy people and being the mother of the household and the therapist and everything else in between. So Floki kind of
Don't
drifted,
really have time.
didn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
anything fast, and then we ended up moving to the Apalachicola in the woods thing. And, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I don't care about you in the fucking chat, you fucking bitch. Nobody gives a fuck about you unless your name is Floki. And your dick will never be bigger than his in my mind. So you're not relevant here. And Floki's a badass nigga. So that's not you. Remember that. And anytime you get mad at me about whatever the fuck I say, remember that you're not as badass of a nigga as Floki. And these are just the fucking facts. You're just some bitch nigga on the internet. Floki's a real ass nigga who's got a lot of fucking problems and broke my heart, but I'll always love him more than I give a fuck about some faggot nigga who hides his face and types shit to a bitch that you'll never meet in real life. Okay? I'll treat you how I treated the perverts on High Island. I bring out my baseball bat and tell you to get the fuck out of here. Because what's the difference between you and them? Floki knows that I lived that life. So what the fuck is a goddamn weirdo on the internet to me when I lived on High Island? Floki would know. So I checked on Floki every now and again. I felt the urge over the years, 2018, 19, and he was still uttering the same biblical rhetoric of, you're an evil bitch, basically, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, and the Bible. And I'm like, wow, this nigga's actually really locked into it. He's taking it
Yeah,
serious.
yeah, yeah.
And to a
Yeah.
point,
Oh yeah.
I said to myself, well, you know what? If this is keeping him sober, I knew it wasn't
Mhm.
sustainable. It wasn't sustainable, but I'm like, well, if this is keeping him sober, who am I to disagree and argue with him? So I just left it alone. And we had a few rounds of that. I don't remember exactly when because that Facebook that I was messaging him on is deleted. But we had a few rounds of that over the years, 2018, 2019, 2020, when we were passing
Yeah. I
through high.
remember when we yeah, you hit him up then. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I felt he was a little bit more open because he had a wall up. He was like super rich,
Mm-hmm.
like dictatorship. Like it wasn't the Floki that I knew at all. The way he was talking to me, it was like super like brainwashed. I'm in a cult, like no openness, very hard, very hard.
Yeah.
So like just no, not Floki. It was just somebody else, and it was just like brainwashed. I'm in a cult. I'm just repeating what they told me to say because this is how I'm surviving every day, is what it sounded like to me. And then 2020 comes along, and I hit him up because we're passing through High Island on our way from San Antonio, moving to Columbus, Georgia. And the very spot that he met me at on Saturday night is where we camped at because there was no beach. But I hit him up. I'm like, hey, we're here. Crazily enough, I mean, long time, something along the lines of, do you want to see me? I want to see you. And he sent me back. He was more open. There was more of the flokiness there. And he was like, being, more soft towards me, but he still kept yeah, but there was the openness and then there was the wall at the same time. It was like, yeah, but I just can't see you. And da 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 da. And I remember feeling sad all over again. But it's like, well, we're moving to Columbus, Georgia, whatever the fuck. And got here, and me and him were he still messaged me. That was the thing. He didn't just say, fuck you, bitch, you're an evil bitch. We still were messaging when I got to Columbus, Georgia. And that went on for a little while. And I remember sending him some video messages through Facebook Messenger. And there was some replies back and forth. And then it was like, you're living in the whole thing. And then I remember doing a live stream. I remember it was for Derby we were at, and I did a live stream, and I remember sending him my YouTube channel for the first time. I remember that. I had never sent him my YouTube channel. I didn't even, he didn't know I had one because that was not a part of our relationship. I remember sending him the link to that, and then I didn't hear back from him at all. That was 2020. 2021 rolls around. We're taking Yoki for a walk. And we were I know exactly where we were at when this happened. I had been getting lots of trolls in the chat, no different than what the fuck is in my chat tonight. And so I'm sitting at the Civil War Museum with Yoki and Ocama doing our nightly walk. And then there's this character in the chat, and I'm like, oh, it's a troll. But I immediately felt like I recognized the picture, the tiny little Abby. I didn't know. I'm like, why do I recognize what's in that photograph? And it's literally this small on my screen because I'm on my phone. It's like a dot, but I knew, I could sense. And the way they were saying stuff to me, it sounded so familiar. And the name was Jacob Rubsnats. And I'm like, I felt like I knew who that was. And then they were talking to me a certain way. And then it's like they were playing this game of like hide and seek, leaving clues. And I'm like, and then I remember they said, look at the picture. They said, look at the picture. And I said, is this Corey? I literally recognized what was in that picture. And the picture is exactly what his picture is now. And so he was in my chat. And I was so taken aback by him being in my chat. I could not understand why he was reaching out to me, considering I knew everything that led up to that point. So I just kind of like didn't believe it, but I did because it was so unbelievable that my Floki was in my YouTube chat live stream. It was so bizarre. I remember just being like, what the fuck? My brain can't process this. It's 2021. All this crazy shit's happened, bro. Like, and Floki's in my chat. I can't comprehend that at all. And I remember just kind of like letting it go and moving on because I'm like, I can't deal with that right now because I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. And I'm like, why is he hitting me up? I didn't understand what it meant. And it scared me.
Yeah.
It fucking scared me.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? It was hard for me to believe it.
Yeah, and it was so crazy. I know that I couldn't believe it, but I did believe it. And I'm like, what does it mean? And because I couldn't have the answer to that, I just kind of like blocked it out. Because I'm
Yep,
like, I
yep.
literally have no idea. I just remember going through that process very quickly and I remember talking it out on the live stream, and he was typing a lot, and then at some point he stopped typing. But I just know that it took me a while to be like, why is he messaging me through YouTube? And he didn't tell me why he was messaging me. I was waiting on him to tell me why, and he never told me why. And then I just ended up spinning for a long time, like it was such a mind fuck. And then, I just continued to live my life. And then that was 2021. 2022 happened. Floki hasn't been on my mind. I mean, occasionally, yeah, because it's like there's always a memory of Floki laying around.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
just going throughout the day, just living our lives. I mean, it's not like I've been focused and obsessed, Floki, but it's like just living our lives, and occasionally things will be brought up and like, oh, Floki, it's just casual conversation, Floki, and it's a Floki this, on a Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. when we're eating, you know what I mean? Like we've never forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
It's just casually a part of our life, like a fork or a spoon, not as a tool, but just like
Mm-hmm.
there. He's never going to go away. It's just a part of our kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And like, of course he's here. It's not a big deal. We don't even care. Like, and so this whole year has happened. This whole last year, I've just been dealing with the energy of the niggas that I've been meeting here because I started going out to the bar April of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I deleted that channel. That's the thing. The channel that Floki was in my chat, but that was a different YouTube channel. I deleted that YouTube channel when I was at Lake Como Family Nudist Resort. And I totally forgot. Like when Floki never hopped in my chat again. It was like one night and one night only. And there was a few times when I was live streaming, I was waiting to see if Floki would hop back in the chat, but he never did. Life goes on. I ended up at Lake Como Family Nudist Resort because Yoki went missing. And I didn't dawn on me until a couple nights ago because that's when I remembered the name of that account. It literally came to me out of the blue. I wasn't holding on to it because I had the YouTube channel deleted when I was at Lake Como. I remember that, and that was the channel that he had been messaging me on. So it dawned on
Right,
me
right.
a couple nights ago that holy shit, he literally was able to watch everything that happened up until the moment when I nuked
Holy
the
shit.
channel. So that means that he knows that Yoki went missing. Um, and
Right.
I nuked the channel, which means that there was no way for him to contact me ever again. So fast forward to Friday night or Saturday, it was, or excuse me, Friday night. I had been trying to find him on the internet. Okay. I had been trying to find him on Facebook. Ocama was able to pull up his account, and I told her, message him and let him know I'm here. Right. I was trying to pull up his Facebook on my end, and I could not pull up his Facebook account. I made 5 different accounts on Facebook, and one of them allowed me to see his account. So then I'm like, shit. What was the name of his damn YouTube channel? I had the urge when I got to Howe Island. I didn't have the urge on the way there. It wasn't even a thought that I would even have the urge to see Floki. It wasn't until I literally pulled into that motel parking lot, I heard in my head and I felt Floki is suffering. I texted Ocama, did I not?
Mm-hmm.
I texted you, I'm at the motel. Basically, I was at the motel, and I texted you. It was literally when I pulled in the parking lot, I felt Floki is suffering. And that's when I went into that motel room number 18, excuse me. And I said, I have got to get in contact with him. That was not on my mind on the drive there at all. Only when I got into that motel room, I felt the urge that I had to see him. I had to contact him. I couldn't find him on Facebook. Ocama messaged him. Ocama ended up adding him as a friend on Facebook and messaging him. And then she even made something on a story because I'm like, I need him to know that I'm here. I need to know, I need to see him. I just need to talk to him. Right. I didn't know why. I had no idea why. Right. And then I'm like, I'm getting impatient. There's no response. This is like Thursday night. I had only booked 2 nights, Thursday night and Friday night. So Friday comes along, and I'm like, I haven't We don't know if Floki got the message. I'm desperate to reach him. I drive by his fucking mom's house to see, what the fuck is there. I just did a drive by. I see a black truck there and I'm like, that's his truck. I know it, but it looks like it's fucked up. So is he even driving it? I don't know. I'm wandering around the beach like a mad woman, all the shit else that I'm experiencing, da 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 da. Then I realized, wait a second. And then, because I was also wondering, should I even bother? Because that part of me was like, I know I'm feeling that I should reach out to him, but is it really important that I see him? Because I can't make that happen. I don't know his number. I don't know where he's at. I'm not going to go knock on his fucking door at his mama's house and be like, where's Corey? You know what I mean? Like, how desperate am I? I'm feeling kind of desperate right now, and I don't know why. And I was expressing all of this to Ocama. I didn't know why I was feeling desperate, because I wasn't feeling desperate before. It was just when I literally got to the motel, I felt the wave of, I have to see Floki. So then I'm like, what's his YouTube channel name? I found one of them because I'm like, I know it's his name. He's so fucking annoying. He would just make his YouTube name, his name. You know what I mean? How ridiculous. He's so fucking primitive. So, but then I'm like, I can't message him. So then I'm like, okay, well then I can just tag him on my YouTube channel. And then I'm like, that happened, but I'm like, nah, that's not it. I don't feel that he's using it. So then I decide on a whim, because I'm already feeling defeated. I remember messaging Ocama, I feel really defeated. I'm going through all these emotions. I'm literally living 6 years ago all over again, and I'm just feeling like shit. I don't know if I should, but I feel like I need to stay another day, and I feel like that's a bad idea, but I feel like I'm going to have to stay another day, and I don't know why. So then Friday or Saturdays, or yeah, Saturday, it's getting like, or I think it was Friday. I decide to go in and like book another night, Saturday, right? Book another night. Friday night comes around. We haven't gotten any response from Floki. I'm laying in bed watching The Crown on Netflix, watching about the royal family, feeling depressed as fuck. You know what I mean? It's really fucking sad. Saturday, I wake up, wander around on the beach all fucking day, think about going to Galveston, because I'm like, you know what? Here I am on this beach looking dumb as fuck. I should just live my life and just go to Galveston and Houston like a real bitch, instead of being on High Island for Floki like he gives a damn, right? So then, or excuse me, Friday night, I had the epiphany. It like came back to me, because I'm like, it literally just flashed into my brain. Jacob rub snaps. Oh my God. I forgot about that. It was not even anything I remembered. And so I typed it in. I'm like, and I couldn't find it. I literally typed in Jacob rub snaps Friday, and I could not find that account. I'm like, what happened to the account? He deleted it. Damn it. I accepted defeat, right? Saturday comes along. Like I said, I'm wandering around all the shit. I'm thinking about going to Galveston, because I was feeling stupid. I'm like, I didn't come here to think about Floki, but now I am. So this is fucked. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I didn't know this was going to happen. I thought I was just going to go to High Island, get some damn seashells, maybe crack open a bottle or two and enjoy the fact that I'm away from Columbus and that faggot ass nigga that I've been having sex with for the last 3-4 weeks, and just kind of just relax into the beach that I love. But that's not what happened. Now I'm feeling deranged about Floki. So I didn't go to Galveston. Instead, I went back to the hotel room, and then I'm like, wait a second. And this is how I found his account, because I literally on Friday night, I was looking up Jacob Rub Snats, and it was not pulling up at all. It was not. So then I'm like, why don't I just spell Jacob like Jacob? And this is literally what happened. I typed in YAJICOB, and that's when the account pulled up. And I'm like, oh shit, there it is. And it was just a playlist. And then I clicked on it because it was Torah shit. And I saw the name, and I'm like, I found it. So then I was able to tag him in my community post, right? And I was just like, I found you, nigga. But I didn't know if he was I didn't know if he was actively using that account, or if he was getting notifications that I was hitting him up. So then I'm accepting defeat again. So now it's evening time. I decide to drive. I'm just going off of urges. I have no plans. I'm just like, what is a bitch going to do? Sit here and cry over Floki? I did not come here for this. So I decide to drive up the strip onto Crystal Beach, because I'm like, you probably need to eat something, but I didn't have an appetite. I drive all the way to the goddamn Valero as far on Crystal Beach as I could get, and I hate Crystal Beach. I just did. I'm like, I don't want to sit in the damn hotel room watching The Crown another fucking evening like a lame faggot bitch. So then I drove all the way there. Then I saw this bar, and I'm like, shit. Do I want to do it? And I pulled up into the parking lot. I saw that it was a country bar, and I said, "Hail to the gnaw." I literally drove away and went back in the opposite direction, and I said, "Just fucking go." I literally I literally left the bar, pulled in, sat there for 5 minutes, and I said, "This is so lame. You're not gonna go into that damn country bar and sit by yourself on Crystal Beach. That is the saddest thing I've ever heard." And I said,
Oh
"Okay."
my God.
I drove away. I literally drove away, and then I went back to the gas station, and then I was driving back, and I'm like, "Just pull into the damn bar and go in, you cowardly bitch. You've been going to that damn bar saloon for how many months and you can't go to a real Texas country bar?" I said, "Fine."
Oh
So
yeah. Fake
bar, I
ass
walked
bitch.
in by my damn self, fake ass bitch indeed. Walked in by myself, felt lame as hell because you know it's Texas and everybody knows everybody on this damn beach, and you're the newcomer in town. Who are you? Sat in that damn bar by myself on the bar stool, and then ended up kicking it with the niggas there and met the nigga who owned the local gym and heard about, you know what I mean? Then I just got, I was, my plan was to have one drink and get a bite to eat to go because I'm like, I am not eating anything here. Ocama knows me. I don't like eating at restaurants. So I ordered
Hmm.
my margarita because, you know, I got to drive 17 miles back to my motel. Don't be dumb. It's not Columbus, Georgia. It's a 60-mile-per-hour zone all the way. It's dark as fuck by the ocean with mist on the ground. Bitch, you cannot drink and drive tonight. Well, I was having such a good time. I said, "Give me another bartender." And she got me another margarita. And then we're having a good time. And, you know, I'm learning all the locals. And then I'm like, well, give me an Angry Orchard because if I drink one more margarita, we won't be able to drive. And what we don't want to do is have a stranger drive us home again, Michael, because it was getting to that point. And the nigga I was talking to was looking at me like, you know, the nigga knows he might gut you. You know, and I'm like, no, we don't want to
Hmm.
get got tonight. So I toned it down with an Angry Orchard. And then I decided on a whim, it suddenly came over me, was not thinking about him at all. I'll call Michael. And I called him from my main line because I've only been texting him on my burner numbers this whole time to the point where I thought he had me blocked on my main line. Call his ass. And the volume is so low that I see, you know, you can see that somebody picked up. And I pulled up the volume, and there Michael was on the other line telling me that he's in California.
Wait,
I
you
didn't,
talked to Michael?
yeah, I
I think
did. I
you
talked to
told me
Michael.
that, but
The same night
holy
I saw
shit.
Smokey, a few hours later, I called Michael, and he's like, yeah, this is what he said to me because he answered on my main line, and he hasn't been texting me on my
Man.
main line.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I've been only hitting him on my burner numbers. So he answers and basically says he's in California because I'm like, where are you at? He's, you know, and he's like, I'm in California. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, you were right. That's his exact words, that phrase. You were right. You know, some people don't do what they say they're gonna do, and they lead you on to believe da 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 da. And I'm like, there's no context. I'm just like, all right, well. And then he basically said, and this is a quote, "Don't be mean to me." And I said, all right. And then he said, he went on this whole thing of, you know, like, I do care about you. He did say that. I do care about you. I'm sitting on the steps of Hardheads. I'm outside talking right now, waiting on my Angry
Hmm.
Orchard. Meanwhile, remember, I had already added Floki earlier on his Jacob Rudd snats. Didn't know if he got it. I'm just at this damn bar because I had a live stream in the queue I was going to do, but it had been postponed because I went to that damn bar, just for the record. So I'm sitting there because I did plan a live stream that I tagged Corey in. I believe it was this, I think, or something like that. I don't know, but I know I had planned a live stream, but I put that on the back burner because I'm like, let me just sit at this bar for a few hours, right? Michael was saying, yeah, you know, I care about you, but you know, you know, I've really got to focus on, you know, it wasn't the focus on this music. Because he's been doing the focus on this music speech for like as long as I've known him. He didn't give me the focus on this music speech. He gave me the, if I didn't do music, would anybody even love me? He hasn't hit me on that angle yet. That was a new one.
Hmm.
You know, it's been the I'm going to do this music. Nobody, you know how it's been going. So that
Yeah.
was
Oh yeah.
he hit me that curveball. He's like, yeah, he hit me with the zero. If I didn't rap, would they love me? So, and I
Mhm.
said, Michael, I've told you this a million times. I could give two fucks about your music career. And he's like, well, I don't know why you like me. I don't know why you like me. And I said, me neither, my nigga. And then the phone went dead. And I thought I was talking and I realized he wasn't on the line. So I called his ass back on some, why did you hang up on me? Oh, I didn't mean to. I'm doing something at my drummer's house, because he's in California. And, you know, so I'm like, okay. And then I said, I just want you to know that I could give two fuck. This is how I ended up hanging up on him. I don't give a fuck about your fucking music career, is what I said to him. And I hung up the phone, paid my tab, was driving back, realizing that I'm getting angry. I realized on the drive back because I wasn't mad at the bar. I was just kind of like, all right, kicking it with the locals. I felt rage overtake me on my way back. And you know the distance. You know the distance past the big store to High Island. It's a bop. And I was starting the gas tank. This is what happened the whole time. It was all this shit's triggering because I'm by myself losing my fucking mind and saying, what are you
Mhm.
doing? I'm not in my I've never done a bar on Crystal. I'm out of my territory completely.
Mhm.
High Island for us was never about bars and restaurants and locals. So I was doing something different in a triggering, you know what I mean? Like it's not casual for me to just go to a bar because I know these bars. It's my territory. It's nothing for me. The gaslight comes on and I'm like, I don't know if I feel this wave of rage come over me right when I'm getting close to that turn to High Island, and I feel overwhelmed with rage. And I hate Floki is the feeling that started to rise. I started to feel the fuck this nigga. It went from sadness, I'd been sad, sad, sad. Now I'm really angry. So I pulled over onto the beach because I had to piss. I took a piss, and then I went and screamed. I just started screaming. This is what happened. I started screaming. I felt all I could do was scream, and I felt something leave my body. Like it felt not like a frustrated scream, like it's not doing anything, but I literally felt something necessary leave my body. And I screamed like,
Mhm.
ah, like crazy shit like that. Like I did it just like that. Ah, the da, and then three. And I felt a little bit better. The plan, and then I realized I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take those damn skeletal remains that I found on the beach, and I'm going to do what I used to do, and I'm going to throw them at his mama's house. I drove with that was what I was planning to do off of two margaritas and Angry Orchard and my brisket nachos. I drove to the because I'm like I can't go back to the hotel room because my initial plan before this happened my initial plan when I got them nachos is like I'm just gonna go back and watch The Crown, finish, see what happened to Princess Diana, and you know, so now it's a good season. Season 5 I was watching that shit, and I was gonna eat my nachos and just go to sleep and wake up in the morning and just get the fuck out of
You
there.
had Netflix in the hotel for free?
Yeah, somebody else's account was logged in. I don't know who the fuck that was, but it was Christy or something. And I got on that bitch and I was watching The Crown. I don't know. I don't know how it
Okay.
worked. It was very
No.
weird in there. So I was just watching The Crown season
Holy
5
shit.
every night, just trying to stay sane and stuff. And
Mhm.
it was getting pretty good. I know the story, but anyways, it was actually decent. So when I was at the bar, I was like, I'm just gonna just be cozy at night and eat my brisket nachos and watch The Crown and wake up first thing in the morning and get the fuck out of here. Right.
Mhm.
So that changed while I was driving. And then suddenly
Mhm.
I'm going to take these damn bones and I'm going to throw them at his fucking mama's house so he will know that I was there because they'll know it was me. No one else is going to put bones in your yard but Yana B. Literally nobody. So I went back to the hotel room, plugged my phone in because it was dead, had a live stream ready because this was my plan, Ocama. I'm just telling you what my plan was so you know the devilish
Okay.
intent in me. Now, it's not, I didn't carry it out because something intercepted that. But my plan was when I plugged my phone in was I'm going to start the live stream. I'm going to leave my phone at the hotel with the live stream running. I'm going to drive very slowly and quietly to his mama's house. Not stop. We weren't going to stop. We were going to drive by and throw the bones into the driveway where they could be seen. Maybe a few seashells. This was my plan. I had it all planned out. And then I was just gonna drive, maybe turn the lights off on the car so I didn't signal that crazy day. Because how many people go down that road? It's like a dead end road. You don't go down that road because it's you just don't go down that road. So I plugged my phone in, was getting the bones. I was looking for the damn bone because it was in one. It's when I found them, I'm like, here we go again. Here's these damn bones again. Okay, seriously, it was getting on my fucking nerves. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So
I do.
like, come on. How is this possible 6 years later still finding the bones in the same damn spot on a beach? Like, seriously, it's annoying. So I plugged the phone in, started the live stream, was getting my stuff ready, to go drive over to his mom. That was my plan, my nigga. I was going to put X marks the spot. I didn't drive 1,000 miles for nothing. And then I looked down at my phone, and guess who was in the fucking chat? Floki. He
Bruh.
intercepted his mama's
As you
house.
were getting ready to go do it. That's crazy.
Yes. And we know what happened after that. But yeah. And we have no idea why he because this sounds like it's all fun and games and hilarious, but we don't know why he drove down
No, we don't.
after all this. Because I'm just going off of him reaching. I'm not even worried about, 2016 or, shit like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going off of the last time he reached out to me.
Right,
Jacob
right,
Rubsnap.
right.
That's what I'm going off of. And that was a couple years ago. And then I deleted my channel. So one of the first things that he said in my chat that night was, I thought you fell off the face of the earth. And I thought that was a very bizarre thing to say to me.
Yeah. Until you put it together in your mind, right? That, oh, yeah, you deleted your
Yeah,
channel, so
but I'm
there's no
taking this
way.
all in at real time. This is all happening in real time. So it's like, it's hard to process because it's happening in real time that this nigga's in my chat, Jacob Rubsnats, meaning Floki. And the first thing he says to me in some capacity is, I thought you fell off the face of the earth. And I thought that was incredibly bizarre to say to me. And then I realized, oh, he's citing the channel that he was watching, that he hit up in my chat a couple of years ago. And then it hit me, oh, you were actually watching. So you saw my channel go bye-bye and you didn't know where I went because there was no way for you to reach out to me. Right. And so, but what makes it even more bizarre, and I have to get on my phone, I don't feel like charging this computer. That's on one side of things. What makes it even more bizarre is the fact that he said that night knowing he was married with a child. I didn't know that. He did.
What? Wait, what? What?
What do you mean what?
He said what that night knowing he was married with a child? Said what?
I thought you fell off the face of the earth.
Right.
You have to understand, when he was in my chat, I didn't know he was married with a kid. He did.
I know, girl. Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I'm saying
he knew he was married.
I'm saying when he said that to me, I thought you fell off the face of the earth. He's saying that knowing in that moment that he's saying that, meaning he's decided to type in my chat. He knows he's married with a kid. He knows this. I don't.
Yeah. So
the first question is, why the fuck are you in my chat at all?
Right.
And why
You're married with a kid.
Why the fuck do you care
if I fell off the face of the earth? Right.
I'm getting to my phone. Hold on. Okay. So I need you to ask me a couple questions, Okama, so we can kind of wrap this up for now because I'm sure I can do this for.
Girl,
No, ask me a few questions, please, to kind
I
of
don't
like,
have a few questions. What's your overall point?
what did he want?
Right.
Why did he want to see me? Don't put it on me. Don't put it on me. Well, you wanted to see me. No, I wanted to see you. Because, yeah, you can say, well, you wanted to see me. Yes, Floki, I've always wanted to see you. I wanted to see you in March of 2017, 18. You know, I wanted to see you March, April, May, June, and July of 2017. And you didn't oblige me then. I wanted to see you all of this time, and then you didn't oblige me then. But you'll oblige me on a random Saturday night, a few days after your baby's born, knowing that you've been married for 2 years. Suddenly now you will. And then my question also is because I asked him, I said, well, how long have you been married? I wanted to know. I wanted to know a lot of shit. He said
Mm-hmm.
two. He said 2 years. He said he's been married 2 years, right? I didn't ask for the
Mm-hmm.
exact date. I didn't ask for the details, and I asked him, where did you meet her? And he said he met her at the High Island store, and he had gone in there asking for boxes, looking for boxes for something. And then she popped her head up, is what he said. She popped her head up and said, I got some boxes. And then something along the lines of she took him to her house, and that's the story trailed off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, you've been married for 2 years. Once again, I don't say any of this then. I'm just letting him talk. I know I will process later. You feel me? I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
any, I just let him talk. I just asked certain questions and I was like, okay, I'll piece this together later. Because while this is, it's not like we're having a calm, casual conversation where we have plenty of time to just relax and enjoy each other's company talking. His wife is blowing up his phone the entire time, you know, not happy at all. And Loki is incredibly agitated. He's not being like, oh, she's tripping. It's not like that casual, oh, she's tripping. Do you understand? You know, when, oh, she's tripping, it's no big deal. Like, nah, it
Mm-hmm.
was bad. It was, I'm taking away your child and I'm going to leave you tripping. And he was highly
Mm-hmm.
agitated in a very angry, aggravated state. There was no smiles or no sunshine in his spirit that night. And you know, Floki, we've always known him to have a little bit of sunshine and smile in his spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I made him laugh once when it involved me saying something along the lines of, I can understand needing to punch somebody instead of punching a wall because it's expensive. And he kind of smiled at that. But other than that, there wasn't a single smile to be seen on his spirit. He didn't smile when he saw me. He was angry the moment I opened the door. It was like opening a chamber to hell. It's like you heard a whooshing sound. You know, like when you open the airplane door when it's moving, that's what it felt like. Pure rage was in that Jeep that night. And, you know, he said that she was mad that he had, and I asked him, I said, did you tell her where you were going? Did you tell her who you were seeing? And he said, yes, I told her who I was seeing, and that's why she's mad. And so then my question has been also, okay, so when you were in my chat as Jacob Rudsnatz, were you married then?
Right.
And did you marry the bitch that gave us rotten food? No, is it her? Because that's who was on his Facebook a couple years ago. So did he marry the
Right.
bitch who was fucking Dallas, the
Right.
brother of the dude who was running the rehab, who gave us rotten food, who flirted with Floki in front of me? Is that who he married? Because he showed me a picture of her and the baby. It was more so showing me the baby before it was showing her. It was her holding the baby. I didn't get a good look at the face of the mother because I didn't really want to see her. You know, when you choose not to see a face, I mostly was
Mm-hmm.
just, he was making me focus on the baby because that's who he's living for,
Mm-hmm.
as he put it. And I just focused on the baby. And I said, yes, the baby does look exactly like you. dark hair. There's nothing to say about the child. The child is the innocent here. But the
Mhm.
mother looked to have reddish hair. You see? So why the fuck was he down at the beach to talk to me and show me his scars? Made a point to pull down his shirt and show me his scars on his chest and said, wait, there's more, but I'm in a hurry because my wife is threatening to leave me. And then he told me that she, lied and had him set up where he was literally, I guess it was at his mom's house when it happened. I don't know, but he said, this is what he said. The SWAT team showed up, guns drawn, AR-15s or something, all pointed at his ass. All he had was a cell phone in his hand, and they got him. He was, something about threatening a pregnant woman, and threw him in jail. And I thought that was it because I already knew that. I don't know if he knew that I knew
Mhm.
that, but I had already seen the damn mugshot, because when I Googled his fucking name. Um, I don't know if he knew that I knew that. So he was just confirming that. But then he added on the detail of, and while I was in there, um, well, he told the story separately. He told the story of the jail thing, or he told the suicide story. And I'm like, well, when the fuck was that? And he was like, well, that's when I was thrown in jail. I guess they forgot to take his belt off of him, and he hung himself in jail, actually died, and they brought him back to life, and he did not want to be brought back to life. So when he was brought back to life and he came to and was fucked up in the head, obviously, because he actually died, he was wondering why the fuck they brought him back. And he's depressed every single day. He's I don't know how much he has been using dope. We didn't have the time to get into all the fucking details, but he has been shooting up and smoking meth. Um, Made the comment that, well, I thought I was a holy roller there for a while, something like that, meaning he fell off the damn
Mhm.
most high shit and stopped working
Mhm.
out and eating right, and you know now doing dope and drinking a half a gallon of vodka every night because he said, I'm an alcoholic now. He was crying, by the way. He was crying on and off in front of me. um, and I held his hand. He didn't grip my hand when I held it. I just chose to reach out and hold his hand. You feel me? And I
Mhm.
held his neck because I felt like I needed to comfort him because I did feel bad. It wasn't sexual, you know.
Mhm.
And because I did. That's the Floki I've always cared about. You know what I mean? So what am I going to do? Sit there when he's telling me this shit and telling me he's an alcoholic. Once again, he's crying on and off as he's telling me this shit. And I said, well, I'm asking him, like, well, how much do you drink a night? And he said, half a gallon or half a liter of vodka a night. And I said, well, were you drinking a night? Because I don't know where he came from. I don't know where he's living.
Mhm.
And he said, yeah, but he's like, I have a very high tolerance, and he kind of laughed. So he had been drinking and driving when he came down. And
Mhm.
yeah, and he referred to his wife as that bitch, the bitch who's ruined my life. But I love her to death. But she got him locked up over a lie where he killed himself. And now they have a baby that was born on Tuesday. And already she's threatening to take the child away from him. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. Mhm.
it's not going to get any better for him.
Mhm.
And he knows that. He knows that. And I said, well, basically what's, because he's letting me know that he's only ever depressed and he has a few happy moments here and there, happy memories, but he's just mostly depressed. Um, and he doesn't want to be here, but he's staying alive for his daughter. She's the only thing he has to live for, is the thing. And I basically asked him, you know, basically told him and asked him, trying to keep it concise, because remember, in the background of all of this is the no, it's not his phone is on vibrate or silent. There's notifications, so he's continuously reaching for his phone throughout this conversation and looking at what she's saying and then throwing it. So that's happening while we're talking. She keeps,
Mhm.
I mean, it's going off, and he keeps reaching for it and throwing it, reaching for it, and sometimes he's replying, and I'm just waiting on him. And then we get back to the conversation. But when I opened the door, he was basically yelling, "I do what the fuck I want to do, bitch." And by the end of it, he said, "I have to get back home to my wife because she's threatening to leave me." So he doesn't do what the fuck he wants to do
Right.
at all. And he's working in Port Arthur. He wasn't wearing
Damn.
his, yeah, I mean, I don't know where he lives, but he wasn't wearing his usual floky clothes. He was in full work uniform, work boots, work pants, heavy duty
Mhm.
shit, which was sad as fuck too. And he's not in good shape at all. Said he hadn't eaten. He's the one telling me all this shit. I haven't eaten in days, just not eating at all, not sleeping, you know. The baby was born Tuesday night or Tuesday. Oh, and then he said something along the lines of he got kicked out of the hospital for getting mad about something, something. So it's not been a good week for him.
Oh, the hospital. Oh, wow, wow, wow.
And
Damn.
once again, the combo was happening fast, and I was trying to, he was very agitated. So I was being very careful to,
Oh yeah.
not
I have.
agitate an agitated man who looks ready to kill somebody.
Mhm.
Because he also made the
Mhm.
comment, this is the other things I have to say it all, because anything that he said to me is sacred to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Sacred to me. So every word that came out of his mouth that I heard is important to me. I don't, even if it's the word and thee, you know what I mean? He said, and I'm summarizing, he hates this fucking world, and that he thought it would have been over already, but it didn't happen as fast as he thought. And I concurred. I was like, I
Me
am
too.
agreeing with
Yeah,
you, dude. Like,
for
he's
sure.
sick. He hates everybody. This is me paraphrasing, but I'm including key words. He
Mhm.
pretty much hates everybody. He's always angry, and he's sick of being so angry, but he's always angry. Um, and everybody around him is a retard. And that's when I realized, oh, this is the Floki that I knew. This is just a
Mhm.
different version of the nigga that we were hanging out with, because this is the shit he would say. All these people are
Mhm.
dumbasses, and we would make fun of them together.
Pea brain. Pea brain.
These pea brains. And that was a
Mhm.
lot of the things that we talked about, is these dumbass pea brains around us and waiting on the world to end, not change.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was a lot of our conversation back in the day. It came to me when he said that. I'm like, oh, this is the Floki that I loved and remembered.
Yeah, we used to
Talk.
clown people that needed a phone, like Googling, like, oh, how to da da da, and how to da da. Stupid. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of the fun that we had with Floki was literally making fun of everybody.
Mhm.
There was nobody off the table.
You can't use
Nobody
your
was off.
brain. Mhm.
So I saw it did make me smile, and I didn't like the circumstances, but I'm like, that's the Floki. I was happy to see him not screaming about the damn Bible. It's like he had
Mhm.
finally been broken down to his original state, which is fucked up, but it's like, at least it's
Yeah.
not that damn Bible nigga.
Mhm.
I felt like I got to
For
see him
sure.
again. I mean, he's fucked up, and it's like, that's the Floki that I loved. And I mean, once again, when I was with Floki, he was fucked up. He wasn't healed. He was, so it's like I was looking at the guy that I loved and remembered Not the new version he was trying to be when we broke up. Like it was the original version, except now he's married with a kid. It's literally the same Floki that I was with in
Yeah.
2016. The same ass nigga. I don't even know if he knows that because, when you're just
Hmm.
it's like us in Columbus. Think about it. You're in that same, we've had a taste of it. You're in that same loop
Oh my
and you
God.
don't even know if you can get out of I've been dealing with it myself. Can I break this fucking behavioral pattern? Like, and you don't know if
Oh my
you
God.
the same person, if you've changed. And it's like, I don't even know if he knows he's back at the beginning.
Hmm.
I don't know. But the only difference is he's married with a kid, but I'm like, you've done that before too. So it's like you're at the beginning when you were 18 because he got married at 18, remember?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
had those two children. So it's like he's doing that all over again.
Again. Hmm.
And it's already bad. Because if
Hmm.
his marriage was so good, he would not be down at the beach crying to me. We're just going to sit here and just.
It's true.
And so, why did Floki torture himself and see me? You can get off if you need to,
Uh,
sis.
okay.
I don't need you
Well,
anymore unless you just
and
want to.
more. Okay.
But if you want to stay, this is when she'll start
No.
looping for hours because she hasn't had
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah. Ah. Okay.
We have more questions
Okay.
than we have answers. Yeah, this is when it starts to loop.
I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not going to loop all night because I need to go to sleep. Um, Floki has my number. He can text me or call me anytime, and I'll stop talking about him on YouTube. What else am I supposed to fucking do? Sit in silence? If he wants to talk to me, all he has to do is call the number that I gave him, the one that he saved in his phone. He knows the name. Call me anytime, Floki, if you want to talk. And I'll stop talking about you on faggot ass YouTube. Yeah, I will. I don't enjoy this at all. It's fucking blasphemous, in my opinion, to ever mention sacred Floki on the internet for me. Um, in the sense of talking to you. I've always, in the sense of me being on YouTube, and I've been on YouTube way before Floki knew about my YouTube channel. In fact, when we were together, I had a YouTube channel that was my original channel that I used back in the day for music industry shit. And I remember telling him about it, but I wasn't giving a fuck about it when I was with Floki. When I was with Floki, the internet did not exist to me. Those were beautiful times. And those beautiful days died a long time ago. So I've used YouTube as a place where I just talk out shit, da 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 da. And of course, as I talk shit out, Floki's name has come out of my mouth. And that's fine because he's a part of my life story. If I'm choosing to talk about my life and share my life story with people that I don't care about, I mention who I care about when I tell my life story. However, I do not enjoy talking to Floki via YouTube. That's not it, bro. Floki and me had an in-person relationship, and that's my favorite thing of all time. And it would also pain me to have a phone relationship with the nigga that I had the purest, in my mind, connection with because no phone was involved. I don't like phones in my relationships. And I can honestly say that with me and Floki, there was no cell phone involved, and that deserves a round of applause. That's something that I am very happy and proud about that I got to experience and say that it is possible to have a relationship with somebody and there not be a cell phone involved because I lived that with Floki. 2 months with a nigga without a cell phone is a long time for all of you hoes. You say, oh, it was only 2, 3 months, whoop de doo. And I say, yeah, but me and him were together almost every single day, all day. And we didn't text or call each other. And that's more than you can do. You have to have a phone for your relationship. And we survived longer than you can without a cell phone. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just talk to Floki on the phone because to me, that's not what Floki and I do. We hang out in person and we talk in person like we did Saturday night. That's the Floki I know, not cell phone texting and calling. I hate texting and calling. And Floki is the only guy that I've ever got to experience where I got to do what I like to do, talk in person. So I thank him for that experience that he gave me because I haven't had that since. Will I ever meet another dude in my life where I don't have to use a cell phone to talk to him? Probably not. Floki's probably the only guy that I'll ever meet where there was no cell phone in our relationship. And that's what I feel sad about also. And it's sad, and it made me sad Saturday night when I gave him my number. And I only gave him my number because I knew I was coming back to Georgia. If I had been staying on High Island for the rest of my life, or at least knew that I was going to live there for a while, I would have never given him my number because he could just show up whenever, like he used to do, and we could talk and hang out. So that's why Floki means a lot to me. One of the many things, because it's who I am. I hate cell phones. And these dumbass niggas I meet on the weekend think that I love texting, and Floki knows that I don't text because has Floki really ever received any text messages from me? I think I had his number once because I found his number on my phone, but I know that there wasn't that much texting involved. I don't know how to text Floki. I know how to talk to him because all of my communication with Floki was in person. I don't know how to talk to Floki on the fucking phone, but I know how to talk to that nigga in person. And some people, they brag about their phone skills. They're really good with phones, but those bitches can't say or do anything in person. I'd rather be able to talk to somebody and vibe them out in person and have that skill than be super good at phone stuff. So unfortunately, I'll say this, Floki, if you're watching, I love you. And I realized that when I pulled into this house and I just laid on my couch and I cried. And then I got up, took a shower, and then we're here. So if you want to talk to me on the phone and if you ever want to come visit, you can literally come here and kick it, bro. Not saying you want to come to Columbus, Georgia, because God damn it, we didn't either. But you can hang out with me in Ocama whenever the fuck you want. You have an open invitation to our house. You see, think about it. I gotta go. I need to go to sleep.